Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Now, I need you guys to tell me what the sound sounds like. I have a new mic and I tested it, but I need to know what you guys think from your perspective. Is it loud enough? What does it sound like? Is it good enough? Do I need to adjust here? I mean, work with me here, you know? This is the first time using the new mic with the bar. It sounds good? Good. As long as it sounds good, that's all I care about. That's all I care about. As long as you guys can hear me, sounds perfect. Wonderful. It's weird not having my headphones on. I'm not going to lie. I need a different set of headphones for this specific thing. And I just want to give a quick shout out to the anonymous person yesterday who donated twice. I appreciate it more than you even know. I used that money for groceries in my house, and I couldn't be more appreciative. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that we had some people in here yesterday that, for the first time, according to this one person, they listened to the other side, which would be us, right? We're the other side. So yesterday was the first time that they listened to only the other side, and they learned some things. And I'm happy that they were able to come into my show and my chat, and that they were appreciative that they weren't just attacked, by saying that maybe they thought she was innocent. Like, because why? Because we gave the facts, right? We gave the evidence. We told her where to go look for the evidence. So and now she can do her own digging, and she doesn't have to listen to me or the douchey or anybody. She can just look, like, well, it has to match. The pink it has to match, right? Like, I know, FKR is like, they're ruining my favorite color, you guys, all right? My toaster is pink, okay? My toaster and my knife block is pink, like this color pink. Like, pink is my favorite color. As you know, my Justice Ave sign is pink. Like, trying to ruin my favorite color, and I will not let them do it, okay? And I wanted it to match my chair, so it is white and pink. But this would not be possible without people like you guys. I have been waiting so long to get a microphone, at least a decent quality one. This one was about $60 on Amazon, and I need so many other things like lighting. I need a real computer. I need a cam because I only use a laptop, But I need at least like a webcam with better quality video, because my video is not great quality because it's just the cam that's on my thing. But we're gonna do it one step at a time, right? One step at a time. And that's why I'm so grateful for you guys when you donate. Like, it goes to regular stuff, and once in a blue moon, I get something like this to make the show better, which I can appreciate so much. So yeah, it's not loud, trashy pink. Although I will not lie, I like any color pink because pink's my favorite color. But a lot of the things in my house, like my curtains, are like a light pink like this. My knife block and stuff, they're like a light pink. So good morning. Thank you. Thank you. So we're gonna see how this mic works out. I don't know if I should move it closer to my face, farther away. You guys can sort of tell me if it sounds better further away or closer. And we could go from there. All right. 7 jurors were seated between the last 2 days. 7. That is bananas. Like, first, let's start with welcome to Twisted Tragedies, where we follow all the twists and turns wherever they may lead. I might be getting sick again, as you can hear from my throat. Thank you to my nephew, my niece, and probably my kid too. But welcome to Twisted Tragedies, where we follow all the twists and turns, and I'm your host, Elise. And we got a lot to talk about. We do. We got a lot to talk about. If you want to donate to the channel, there's a ticker at the bottom. You can do so that way. I very much appreciate it. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. And you can also just like the channel. You can subscribe, which is really helpful. Share the videos with people who don't know we exist. Stuff like that. That's okay, Christina, because we have this thing called replay. Good morning, Cindy. We have this thing called replay, right? And I love my replay crew. They're just as important as you guys here in live chat. Like, they do important work over there because they get to make their comments on the video after the video is not live anymore, which actually helps when you have more comments and more likes on a video. It helps YouTube push it out to more people that might be interested in it, right? So I'm actually really grateful for my replay crew. We have an amazing live crew. We have an amazing replay crew. I really think we did some great work yesterday, um, with some, and we had more than one free Karen Reed person here. I think I want to tell you guys like how proud I am of you guys for being like civil and not like jumping on that person for saying like, oh, you know, they're free Karen Reed. You guys gave them the facts and you guys were kind and courteous, and I don't expect any less from you because that's all how you are anyway. But you know, we were able to give those people things to think about and things that they're going to go look now and not just take the cult's mantra over and over and over of something that isn't even true. Like, so now they can go and they look and say, wait a second, hold on. I was lied to. And I think we did some amazing work yesterday in that aspect. And you guys are amazingly awesome. And I love how courteous you guys are, even if someone doesn't have the same opinion, because that's what we want here, a safe space, right? We want the safe space where we can teach, right? And we can give them facts they can go look up themselves. They don't have to listen to the cult. They don't have to listen to the short turtle, the duty short turtle. They can just go look it up, right? They can go look it up. So when he says something ridiculous, like Brennan and Leah made a website and she paid for, I mean, all of that is untrue. So like they don't have to just listen to that. They can go look up the information. Someone this morning said something to me that I thought was really funny. It was on one of I wrote something on the DUI guys thing, and I was like, bro, like shame on you. You know what I'm saying? And like there was a comment back from one of the people, and they said something along the lines of, "Oh, well, the Commonwealth has had Karen's car for since she got arrested, and they haven't been the defense hasn't been able to do any testing on it." Well, we know that that's not true. We know that that is completely false because who did the first chip on and chip off? The defense team's experts did. They missed 8 gigabytes. But they're the ones who did it. They absolutely did testing. And they hadn't been invited to do any other testing they wanted. They declined any other testing besides the chip on, chip off. So that is wholly untrue that they didn't do any testing and haven't been able to do any testing on the car. Oh my God, Melanie Little is live. I literally cannot. Dude, you guys, I can't. This hat, where it looks like a duck sat on her head. I'm not under, like, what is happening right now? 4,000 people are watching that. I am also shocked, Kim. I am extremely shocked myself. And also, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Def Otter. Good morning, Shamia, Christina, Ashley, Eva, Maestro, of course, Jane. If I'm missing anybody, I'm sorry. Kim, obviously. Cindy. Sorry, I want to make sure. Leah, Jolly Folly, Chris, and all of you other people watching from the bushes that I can see in the numbers. Kings, good morning. Yeah, this, I mean, I can't either because of her like facial expressions and whatnot, but like this hat, hi Heartstar, I can't. Like this hat, I cannot. I cannot. Like, I mean, lady, if you didn't want to do your hair, do what I do. Throw it up in a bun. I don't think if your people are going to judge you on the way you look at 9 in the morning, then I guess you don't have the best people. Oh, crap. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I think we got something here. I want to make sure that this is today and not a different day, but it's saying it's live. So I guess we'll see. Here we go.
Bernstein, who is a keeper of the records in Stoughton, Stephen Ridge from the Boston Police Department, Stephen Surratt from the Canton Police Department, Stephen Scanlon from West Roxbury, Terry Kuhn from Davis, California, Tess Chart from Lorton, Virginia,
Streamed
Thomas
one day
Beatty,
ago, that one
Canton,
says. So hold on. See, when you click on it, it says live. So that's the problem. Hold on. See? Look, new, live. But then it's 2 hours. So that's obviously not it. Like, oh, I can't. I saw one this morning that is going to stream it. So hold on. I hate how many times I've actually had to type the word Karen Reed. I would much rather be typing the word John O'Keefe because I feel like he's just been lost in all this. I think a lot of people feel that way, that he's just lost in this circus of nonsense. And, you know, he's very much, there he is right there. He's very much not lost in my heart and in my, in my head. Like, I think about all the time the things that, this is it, I think, right here. Um, the things he must have went through in those last moments, and it breaks my heart, and it breaks my heart for those kids, you know? All right, we're gonna leave that. It says watch today's court hearing. It is a live stream. I guess we'll just keep it on that. Yep, we're gonna have to. Did it just end? What is happening? Hold on a second here. No, that was forward. We don't want to go forward. I want to go back. So, I don't know. That's what we're seeing at the moment. So, he has been lost, Kim. It really makes me sad. His family doesn't deserve all this. Hi, Amber. Hi, Lisa. DJ, of course. Leon, Parson. Yeah, the list. I think they have to read it every day anyway if there's new jurors. So, I mean, I feel like we're going to hear that no matter what, Shadow banned. I feel like thank you, Kim. I appreciate you saying you love my show. I appreciate that. I think a lot of these channels shadow ban us. Come on, let's get real. Like, one of them the other day was like, it was me and another person that were commenting on the DUI guy's stuff, or the lawyer, it was one of the two of them. And like, we were saying, like, that's not true. Like, people were writing things that just were blatantly false. And one of the FKR crazies, because they're not all crazy, but there's a good amount of them, was like, well, because there was two of us commenting, how many stock accounts do you have, Twisted? Like, how many do you need to do that? Good morning, Beach. I don't have stock accounts. And this is exactly what I said to them, because I've said it about a billion times and I'll say it again. I have one account and it says Twisted Tragedies, because when I say something, I want people to know that it's coming from me. I don't need 50 stock accounts. Only people who harass and intimidate people need 50 stock accounts. Like, just like your leader who's had, hundreds of stock accounts over the years. Like, I don't need stock accounts. I want people to know when I say something that it's coming from me. Like, that's why I don't tweet a lot. I could tweet a ton and then, like, my metrics would go up, and I eventually would probably be able to be monetized on Twitter if I tweeted more. But I feel like I'm not going to tweet just to tweet, dude. I only want to tweet if there's something important to say or a statement I want to make that I want people to hear. Like, that's it. Like, I don't feel like tweeting just endlessly all day long is really going to help much, Like, I mean, I'm not knocking anybody who does. That's their MO. They can do whatever they want. I just feel like it's kind of a waste of time for me. If I want something, like, I will say it, like, from my account. And that's when people know it's important, because I don't just sit there and tweet all the time, Lauren Crime was supposed to be live. I did see that the Vallow trial was. I was just watching that this morning, Amber. You read my mind. I was seeing that she's representing herself. Vallow is. Like, what, lady? Why? Like, why would you ever represent yourself? I don't understand that. So that's she's already got life in prison, but this is another trial for ex-husband, which I absolutely think she had something to do with. And I kind of want to see the theatrics of her trying to, like, defend herself, to be honest. Like, oh, that'll be great. Everybody gotta keep an eye out for that on Ashley's channel. That'll be great. It makes me angry too, but I get I get an option of talking about him with people that knew him, and I don't, not all of you have that option, but I feel like, because the kids have been through so much and everything, like, they can't even be left alone. Paul can't even be left alone. Peggy can't even be left alone to just grieve, like, that's awful. Like, oh, it's definitely a tactic, Maestro. Absolutely a tactic of theirs is to, like, make it all about the defendant, the murder defendant, right? Like, it's all about Karen. Like, well, Karen didn't die, you know? They can strike, but they usually they would have already, did that before. So if they're saying they seated 7, usually that's like they seated those 7 and none of them are going to be getting a strike to be removed. see the Valo stuff. I'm pretty sure that either Court TV or Law and Crime will cover it. It doesn't start till Monday. So if there's a gap in any of this, I'll cover some of that too, because I kind of want to see it. Like, up, we have video, y'all. Good morning, Dixie Doodles. I know. Thankfully, I'm here, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. You know? Hi, Mama Bree. I agree, Kathy. I couldn't agree with you more that the judge should not have allowed it to be the circus that it was in the first place. You know? Yeah, usually if they're already going to be, given a strike, they already are. I gotta get another mod. I'm gonna add Freak as a mod, but he also can't be here all the time. So I'm gonna need anybody else that wants to volunteer. I need another mod. I need some help over here. So anybody let me know if any of you can do that. If any of you can mod. I agree. Yeah, the damage is done. Like you said, though, the damage unfortunately is done. The lawyers know the jurors' names. They do their own. They do background checks on them and everything. They do full background checks on the jurors. So make no mistake, Hank's going to do everything he can to make sure none of these people are trying to sneak in. You know. I know, and Sarah Boone was, not the sharpest crayon in the box. Oh my god, you guys, did I tell you about the lady on X that tried to tell me the sharpest crayon in the box? I'm an idiot because that's not what it is. It's the sharpest tool in the shed. And I'm like, lady, I live in New England. It's a saying. The fact that you've never heard sharpest crayon in the box, like that saying started when they started putting the crayon sharpener on the back of the box when I was a kid. Like, so it's like, there you go, trying to insult someone and making yourself look like a fool while you do it. Like, it's amazing how they do that. It is totally amazing. I don't get it, you know? Like, actually just put her channel up there. You can't put links. I keep forgetting to fix that. You can't put links. Only I can. But she put it with spaces, I think, so you can see it. I can't see that. I don't know. Hold on. Ashley St. Angelo 1661. That's the if you type that into the bar on YouTube, you should be able to find it. It should be good. It should be a funny watch. I'm not gonna lie. No, I highly doubt that they're ever gonna offer him a damn thing. I have no doubt that they would, even if he attempted to like ask them for something, they would tell him to go. They definitely can ask them about social media. They of the voir dires, like they can ask questions like that. I wish we were allowed to hear the voir dires. That would be nice, right? Like, come on, man. I agree with that statement. Hiding behind 6 attorneys that like aren't getting paid, but then Karen gets told to shut up. I saw that. We talked about that yesterday. 3 FKR people are trying to sue the judge in federal court over the buffer zone, which they will lose once again. And Rendanza taking up the game again. Y'all just really like to waste money. I don't understand it. Like, listen, I can tell you plenty of places to donate money to or donate things to without wasting your money and flushing it down the toilet. Literally. Like, because that's all they're doing at this point is flushing it directly down the toilet. Like, I'm sick of modding. I'm sick at modding, ask Ange. Well, you know. Yeah, I think that's part of why, like to make her softer, like to control her like facial expressions. But it's like you're not controlling anything if she's look at her. She's acting as if she's an attorney. What do you need attorneys for if you're going to do all that? This is what I've never seen a defendant do all like this. This is very new. Absolutely. Good morning, Richard. Absolutely, Kings. If you can send me your YouTube, like, so if you go to like your page on YouTube, even if you don't have like a channel, your like front page, your home page, when you click on your little icon, if you can copy and paste that link at the top of your thing, then I can add you as a mod on YouTube. I have to go into YouTube and do it. You can send it to me like email, X, any of those things. Facebook. Well, that's the other thing. Karen knows them, you know? I think if he takes the fifth, he's done. I think he sat there and said that if the Alberts or McCabe's took the fifth, that it showed that they were guilty, because what are they hiding? Why would they be hiding criminal acts? Why would they need to take the fifth? And I will tell you that if that man takes the fifth, I will replay that over and over and over and over, because he's a frigging coward. He's a absolute coward if he takes the fifth, and it just shows that he's hiding all his criminal. I mean, come on now. He'll lose a lot of support if he pleads that fifth. That's for sure. Hey, Bella. Hank is smarter than any of them. Or us. I don't know. I'd like to think I'm at least close to as smart as Hank, considering I've been doing pretty good predicting on what he's going to do based on what I think I would do. But I will concede that he's probably smarter than I am. Good morning, Patty. Sharpest knife in the drawer? There is more than one. I don't think he has a chance to plea. I don't think the state's going to give him a plea. You'd have to be offered a plea to plea. And I don't think he'll ever be offered a plea anymore. They would have back when. But I don't think there's a chance they offer him anything. Hey, Scorpio. Exactly. Same meaning. Oh, that's right, Lisa. I forgot about that. Yeah, because you believe she's guilty and because you have your own opinion, right? Like, listen, you're more than welcome to help out. I forgot about that. Lisa here was a mod for the Hewitt Carroll for some time until she boldly said she thought Karen was guilty, and then you're not allowed anymore after that. It's just look for my ugly mug. Stop it. Right? She might be sunken grave. She might be. Here, Hewitt Turtle. I'm right in front of you. Just don't look at the back of my head. It's not nice. Hello, Queen. Yes, there's also a saying that's the brightest crayon in the box. The sharpest crayon in the box came after they started making the sharpeners on the back of the box. He can give him a sort of limited immunity, but I do not think that will happen. That would be sort of something that they don't normally do. And in this case, I think that they want him in jail. I do not think that they're going to offer him that. Like, I cannot wait for that either, Brittany. That is something I literally can't wait to see. That, and can't wait to go over some of this car data with you guys. Hey, Kat and I. So we have 7 jurors seated for all y'all that just popped in. 7 jurors that are already seated before we even get started today. Yeah, me too. They can switch lives with me if they want. They can go back and forth to a hospital all the time, figure out how they can pay for groceries, like, do the basic things, like you have to put your little one on and off the bus while you're doing the back and forth to the hospital, like, do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around, get harassed by them endlessly still, I would love to hear them bitch and whine then. Like, matching outfits, right? That was probably done on purpose, although it looks very silly. Like, she does think she's an attorney. Listen, I've been studying law 26 years, since I was 12 years old and I was on that stand as a witness. And even I don't know it all. I know a lot, but there are still some things even I don't know. So I just don't understand how she's going to sit there. Like, you have 6 attorneys. Let the 6 attorneys do their job. Whether they're getting paid or not, they still got paid the first time. So, you know what I mean? Also, yeah, Victoria George looks like she's a fish out of water. Remember, she's a civil attorney, so I don't think she has any idea what's going on when it comes to criminal stuff. She's literally like, yeah, the first day she literally looked like out of place. She didn't know when to stand up, what to do, like none of it. I mean, even I know that. It's basics. Up. All right, please. She's also a control freak. Hardcore. I don't know. You are flushing it down the toilet. She is absolutely a control freak, Otter. You got that right. Right. Right? Get a small pizza instead of a large. Like, still gonna thank Leah the other day for sending me those pizzas. Those were so good. Now all I can think about is those pizzas. They were delicious. Oh, I hear Hank. I'm trying to hear what's said. Oh, damn it. I can't hear. I can hear like I'm talking. I can't hear what he's saying. Anybody who wants to mod, you got to send me that link of your like YouTube thing so I can add you. You can send it to me on X, Facebook, email, twistedtragedies3@gmail. Like you have to go to like your homepage, like you click on your like circle icon that you have on YouTube, and it will bring you to like your homepage, profile page, whatever. And then the link at the top that's in the bar. That's how I can add you. Yeah, because she's a woman. Right? Can we get a megaphone over there? Exactly. If he takes the fifth, he'll be turtle soup. Turtle soup, turtle soup, douche. Oh yeah, she doesn't get to like be walked straight to the door by the minions, Ooh, cat, now you think he can't jump? One crayon short of a box. There's a big difference, I think there's a very large difference between supporting and getting your channel and growing and doing what the sewer turtle does. Some other people as well. I mean, they're not. Some of these people aren't hard up for money either. Like that's what gets me. Some of these people are like retired and like make tons of money, but still have to. They're just greedy. Like listen. If I was at 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 subscribers and I had money flowing in from memberships and merchandise and donations, like the amount of giving back that I could do or helping other people, like that's like my dream is to set up something where like, and I don't mean like a nonprofit where like only a small subset of people will fit into the criteria of actually getting the help. I literally mean like I'm able to help anybody at any time with anything, whether it's they need their car fixed and they can't afford to do it, or they're need to pay their electric bill, or they need to put groceries in their house but they got to pay their rent and they don't have the money for both, and they make too much to get any government help but not enough to even survive. Like you know I want to be able to help people at any given point whenever they need it, and I can only dream to get to that point, right? Like these people don't do anything good with what they have. Like they don't use their platform for anything decent or good. Like help some of your subscribers. I'm sure some of them could use some help, and they're over there making money hand over fist, and they don't even do any giveaways. I would do giveaways like $100 of Amazon. Anybody can use that. You can use it for groceries. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just crazy to me. Like, oh yeah, I saw that. Like over $2,000 for an outfit, dude. My whole outfit put together is probably worth like $60. Champion shirt and Victoria's Secret sweatpants that I bought for my birthday. I got them on sale. They were half off. No, he's got so he has media credentials because the SJC press office thought it was a really smart idea to give him press credentials, although they should, in my opinion, they should have already been rescinded and pulled back. But he does have press credentials, so he can go in and out of the courthouse and into the buffer zone because he has press credentials. But none of his minions can follow him, so I don't know what the point would be. And also, they can't just hang out in the buffer zone if they're not like filming or like, you know what I mean? Like, he has no reason to, he's not going to be allowed to just stand there, you know? Oh my God, amazing. That would be hilarious, Ashley, if you just showed up in the middle of his testimony. Here I am, member of the public. You're kryptonite, sir. If he doesn't take the fifth, he's absolutely screwed. He seems to think, I know he keeps saying, like, I'm going to spank Hank Brennan. And it's like, no, you're not, bro. You're either going to take the fifth, like a pussy, for lack of a better word, or you're going to get friggin' sliced, diced, and absolutely incinerated on the stand. Because Hank knows that you're a liar. Like, literally every sense possible, Maestro. You got that. That's for damn sure. Like, I feel like there has to be a word that's more worse, like despicable, you know? Yeah, I know. Matching, so ridiculous. Like, okay, what are you guys, Barbie dolls? Like, I'm totally confused here. I don't understand it. Like, I don't think he can help but to lie because he's a pathological liar. Well, that's the thing. I don't think he would take anything anyway unless it was like you never get to see a day in prison and all your charges are dropped, which they will never give him. You know? I do think they're trying to make her softer as well, but that is just not going to work. She's not a soft person, you know? Yeah, except I don't think they'll give him that. I don't think that they will give him that. He has to testify one way or another. Either that, or he can sit in a jail cell. Either that, or he can be sanctioned by the court, and that's not good either. So, I mean, either way he does it, he's ultimately screwed. She does think that she's on the red carpet, and it's very real possibility that she did. I would like to know if Alan Jackson's wife decided to come on this trip this time and was like, yeah, you're not going without me because I don't trust you now. Sorry. Like, you know, pufferfish kind of does. She is kind of a glorified babysitter. Victoria George is kind of a glorified babysitter, you know? Now that all of you are in here, can any of you tell, can you tell the difference in the audio, that it's better? Like with the new microphone, I mean, is it better if I turn it this way? Can you hear me better this way? Like, how we doing? Like, now that there's more of you here, I just want to see what you guys think. I think she will come across that way. I noticed that too. Nature's credit card. I do notice a little bit of differences in how she's behaving, but she doesn't have a gag order. And I think Hank actually did that by design because now her lawyers can't speak. She can only speak for herself. So Hank was smart. He didn't give her the gag order because when the cameras ask her questions, her lawyers can't say anything. They're under a gag order. But she can, which allows her to slip up and say stupid shit that he can use. Cool. That was brilliant from Hank Brennan. I didn't understand at first why he wouldn't have given her one too, but now I do. Yeah, I just don't see that happening, you guys. I just don't see them doing that. I mean, they're not going to tell her she can't say good morning, but I know. I don't get it. They did it it was yesterday where we saw some of the jurors like, dude, come on. I think we're in the bigger courtroom right now. That's very clear that we're not in the smaller one because we don't have Fanny the fan. Yeah, they have it. It's reciprocal. They have it. Thank you, freak. I gotta go check. Oh, morning, my friend. Good morning, Leah. I'm sure all of you will be amazing mods. Every single one of you are like my family at this point. Like, y'all are stuck with me. Sorry. Listen, I can't resist it either because she's a deplorable human being. Like, I don't know. That's a good question, Brittany. I would love for him to just be special prosecutor in some other cases. That would be fun, right? Like, I feel like that would be fun. Maybe he could take on the Cheerly Douche case after this one. I don't think Cosgrove or Mello is actually equipped to do an internet case. They're just older, and I just don't think they have the chutzpah. I will check my message. Give me a minute. I want to just try to catch up on some of these comments first. I think he should be given Morrissey's job, to be fair. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Morrissey in general. Just because I don't like the guy. I think he's a weasel. But that doesn't mean that Karen Reed isn't guilty. She is. Like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you guys do it. I like have to cringe if I even have to play a little bit of it. Like, I literally cringe. Yeah, the crowd has shrunk. Want to know why? Because they're not front and center in front of all the cameras now. Like, they're like way back. So like a lot of people aren't even going because they're like, well, if I'm not gonna be in front of the cameras and act a fool, like why do I want to go? One sandwich short of a picnic. I love that, Casey. Good morning. Yeah, it was brilliant. They absolutely should have something that they can look at while things are being said. I've always felt like the jury should be able to like take the evidence, like the doctor's reports and all of that stuff, take it with them into the not just have to listen and take notes, but like take it with them. You know what I mean? Like, why shouldn't they be allowed to? Well, yeah, that's because there was no cameras to it. Like, I mean, I think you'll see a little bit more when the trial starts, a little bit more of them, but like still, you know. Good morning, Angela. I was watching in this morning too, just to see the crowd, but there wasn't one. I saw maybe 12 people. Yeah, it's because the trial hasn't started yet. I think also crowds on demand probably isn't hired until the trial starts, right? Thank you, Lucia. I appreciate that. I do. It's tough. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Being a smaller channel is really hard. You know, you have to cover the costs associated with doing the streaming first before you ever make a single penny. It's harder competing, you know, with bigger audiences and bigger channels when you're so tiny. Like, and I took that 6-month break, you know, with my kid being in the hospital and stuff. It just wasn't the time. Right? She is probably taking the pizza syrups. That's probably true. My God, I know. Dude, someone got to tell that poor man he looks ridiculous. Like, bro, you make the whole thing look like a joke. Like, come on. Morning, Anna. Yeah, you know, I could see Hank being a judge. That would be kind of cool. I do think he will get a conviction, though. Dude, if I had $2,000, I would buy a hoopty. I would buy a car because I need one. I would definitely not pay for that for an outfit. That is just crazy talk. I mean, it probably can be, but my best guess is probably things like cash or Venmo or PayPal through someone else's and someone else's and someone else's account so that it's like doesn't trace directly back, you know? And also they're paid in the way of like covering this brings in a lot of money if you're going to say she's innocent. It just does. That's the bottom line. It brings in decent donations and that's like the payment of it, right? Is like if you cover this, like you're going to get a ton of traffic to your channel. People might buy a ton of merch. You could get tons of memberships and you're getting donations that are just coming. I don't get that over here because I'm a very small channel and because I say she's guilty. That's not how it works. If I was to still say she was innocent, that money would be flowing in. So I honestly think that's also the way that they get paid is by being told, okay, if you cover this, like these are the things that you're going to get out of it, you know? And so there's no money directly being exchanged. They just get the money coming from the people who, you know, are going to keep giving money to the creators who say she's innocent. I literally can't. She brought them coffee. I wish someone would bring me coffee. Jeez. Deanna. Oh, Dina. That's Dina. No, not a recess. We just haven't started yet. I mean, I would love for him to plead the fifth. Please, for the love of God, let him plead the fifth. Yeah, I do like this one better. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the squares in the ceiling are better to look at. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Victoria George. It's just insane. Oh my God, probably was. It was probably to take attention off her and make it seem like it's a normal thing to do, you know? Like, I don't know. Yeah, you're not going to make someone softer like that. Karen can't control herself. She's the same as Aiden when it comes to having no impulse control whatsoever. She can't help it when she makes those, facial, like, she can't help it because she has no control. She's a control freak. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Aiden's down Vodka Creek with only Karen's flat ass as a paddle. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Exactly, Ashley. You can polish a turd, but a turd is still and always will be a turd. Yep. Okay, good. Just making sure. You're my tech guy, freak. So I take your opinion seriously. I just want to know if you guys could hear the difference. Is it better than my old Beats headphones? Hilarious. I did not find out whether he was married 5 times. I forgot. I'm sorry. My brain sounds smooth. Good. She's too sexy for her shirt. I do think Hank will do the job. It's an old building, but they did do work on the inside of it last year before, somewhere like that. I definitely do think that they're trying to control her behavior. Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. Yeah, I've done Sandra's case twice. I honestly think that it needs more attention. Really, it does. Yeah, 8 gigabytes. That's a lot. Oh my God, that would be awesome if he ran for attorney general. At least we know that he would actually do something, unlike our attorney generals that we've had now and in the past. That was the most utterly disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life, was her mocking Peggy. Yeah, it is beautiful inside and out too. Like, if you lived here, you could see like how beautiful it is. I hope some of you come and visit. Like, when this is over, or maybe during, deliberation, like, I hope some of you come and visit. I think we could put together like a Twisted Tragedies meetup party. That would be kind of fun. Yeah, I can't either. It makes me want to like throw things, and I'm not a violent person. They might be. They absolutely might be played. If they're important, he's going to play them. Yeah, Morrissey had no choice but to play. That's not why I don't like him. The statement I would have done too. I like him. I don't like him for my own reasons. Oh, that they definitely did. They were like, "Yeah, no, sir, you'll be arrested and have some silver bracelets." So, like, he's not even going to attempt to go over there now. Ooh, I love stuff like that. I'm kind of like a history nerd, a paranormal nerd. Like, I'm just a nerd, I guess. Yeah, it is raining. It was like the middle of the night. All I could hear was like the rain pitter patter on my window. Yes, exactly. Tangible evidence they can hold in their hand and look at, Oh, thank you guys. Without me, where would I be, Yeah, no, I wish her to prison. I wish him to prison. I wish them to live a miserable life in that goddamn cell wearing orange for the rest of their miserable lives. Yeah, Karen Reed's sister doesn't show up, and I believe that's probably because she doesn't want anything to do with this circus, I can only guess. On the first day, Ashley, the cops told him to go back to the buffer zone. He cannot be in the area he was in. And he was like, "Can I follow Karen when she comes out, like with the camera?" And they were like, "No, you're not media. No, you cannot. And if you come back here, you will be arrested." The cop was so serious with him. And he's like, "My body camera's on. You're being recorded. And yes, you will be arrested." All rise. Hello, can we get some camera here? Right? Me too. I mean, we have audio, but no video. What the fuck's happening? Imagine fangirling over any of these lunatics that are lying, and you guys have caught them lying. It's like you can catch them in a lie on a daily basis. Yeah, he thought he could stand with the press. Then go get a press pass. I thought about trying to apply for a press pass. And I absolutely could get one and be approved. I was just like, meh, I'm not going to be able to make it into the court like every day like that. I'd rather stream it here because I'm not going to be able to be in the court every day. I have to get my kid on and off the bus, so Yeah, the super chat security. Oh, absolutely. That's the whole reason why you haven't heard anything from them about the text stream data, because they know it's bad for them. Yeah, she has publicly, and Jackson basically said it. So, like, where's the money going? That's very possible, Maestro. Here we go. I know. That's probably true, Joy. Female Manson. That's a good one. I know I'm a little behind in the comments. I'm trying, guys. No, she literally can't help it. Yeah, I think the defense team probably does as well.
All persons have any business before the Honorable Beverly Canoni, Justice of the Norfolk Superior Court, and for the County of Norfolk. You are here, if your attendance, you shall be heard. I say the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Court is now open. You may be seated.
I'm sorry, could you stand and raise your right hand one more time?
Because they're not getting paid
I
each
need you to stand and raise your right hand, jurors. I'm sorry. My fault. Do you solemnly swear to make true answers to such questions as you put forth to you by the court, so help you God?
Got my pen.
You can have a seat now, promise. May I call the case, Your Honor?
Please.
Your Honor, this is docket number 2282CR117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. Can I have counsel identify themselves for the record?
May I introduce myself, Your Honor?
Please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hank Brennan. I represent the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, along with two of my colleagues.
Good morning, my name is Laura Laughlin. I'm the Assistant District Attorney for the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, representing the community within Norfolk.
Good morning, my name is Adam Riley, Assistant District Attorney with the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Yes,
All right.
person.
Thank you, counsel, and
Right.
counsel for the defense, and please introduce your client as well.
Good morning.
Totally can do a buffer zone around my place.
Good morning. My name is Alan Jackson. I have the privilege and honor to represent my client standing to my right, Ms. Karen Reed.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Elizabeth Little, and I also have the privilege of representing Ms. Reed.
Good morning. My name is Robert Alessi. I likewise have the privilege of representing Ms. Reed, and I thank you for coming today.
Oh my God, you
Good morning.
stuck
My
up.
name is David Unetti. I'm an attorney. I have offices in Boston and right here in Dedham.
Nobody cares.
Truly my pleasure to represent.
He keeps telling them where his offices are so they can find him.
Good morning. My name is Victoria George, and I have the privilege of representing Ms. Reed, and thank you for being here.
Oh, please.
Good morning, I'm Karen Reed. Thank you for being here.
Okay, thank you very
Weird.
much.
Ms. Reed, can you please remain standing for just a moment? Karen Reed, you are now set at the bar to be tried. And these good men and women who I shall call to pass between the Commonwealth and you upon your trial. If you'd object to any of them, you must do so before they are sworn. You have a right to challenge any 16 jurors without giving reason.
It's delicious, Parson. We're going to go, I think, next week. If it's
Good
okay with
morning,
Ashley, I
jurors.
think
My
Wednesday's
name's
a good
Beverly
day.
Canoni. I'm a judge of this court, and I want to welcome you here today and give you some idea on how we think your day is going to shape up. So I just want to say before we start that jury service is certainly one of the most important civic duties we have. And as a civic duty, it does cause us to be inconvenienced. So we do appreciate that you're here, ready, willing, and able to serve if called upon to do so.
Yes, that's
And
right.
our system of justice simply
Good.
won't work without you. So we do appreciate you being here, and we appreciate your patience. So today we're selecting a jury in the criminal case of Commonwealth versus Karen Reed. The Commonwealth alleges that at approximately 6 a.m. On the morning of January 29th, 2022, the Canton Police Department received a 911 call reporting an unresponsive male party in the snow
Joy.
outside a residence at 34 Fairview Road in that town. Officers responded and discovered the man, later identified as John O'Keefe, off the roadway in the front lawn area. Officers identified 3 women with Mr. O'Keefe, one of whom was the defendant, Karen Reed, the girlfriend of
Love
Mr. O'Keefe. The defendant had been with Mr. O'Keefe the previous evening at 2 different bars in Canton and had driven with him to this residence in the early morning hours of this date. Mr. O'Keefe was treated by paramedics from the Canton Fire Department and transported to the Good Samaritan Medical Center, where he was later pronounced deceased. The Commonwealth alleges that the defendant struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle
It does.
earlier that morning
Still slow.
and then left the scene while Mr. O'Keefe lay injured in the snow during a blizzard. The defendant denies these allegations. She is presumed to be innocent, and she has pled not guilty to the indictments.
It'll suck the life force out of you.
So the defendant is charged with second-degree murder. She is also charged with manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of
My name is
alcohol,
Karen.
and with leaving the scene after
I'm a
causing
criminal.
personal injury or death. I'll describe these offenses in greater detail at the end of the case when I teach the jury the law. But briefly, murder is the unlawful killing of a human being.
They're good too.
There are various ways in which the Commonwealth can prove a murder case, and the Commonwealth is permitted to proceed under all theories it believes it can prove. Here, the Commonwealth alleges that the defendant committed murder and that that murder was murder in the second degree. In order to prove the defendant guilty of second-degree murder, the Commonwealth must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed an unlawful killing and that it was done with malice. In comparison, involuntary manslaughter is an unintentional, unlawful killing caused by wanton or reckless conduct.
7. They have 7
These
jurors.
terms and the elements of the crimes will be explained to you in detail at the end of the case before you begin your deliberations. Now, the issue of public interest in this case and the duty of this court to adhere to the rule of law. John Adams said that we are a government of laws, not of men, and that the law must be deaf to the clamoring of the public. He meant that while public opinion about a given subject may ebb and flow, the law must be steady, reliable, and even-handed. We know that on the subject of this case, there are people advocating for one outcome or another with intensity, but without the benefit of having heard or seen any evidence in the courtroom at all. The law works in a different way, and the difference is crucial to our system of justice. The jurors selected for this trial will hear and judge the evidence.
I want
They will
coffee.
decide what the facts are, and where the evidence is contested, they will determine where the truth lies. Ultimately, the jury will decide whether the Commonwealth has carried its burden of proving that the defendant is guilty of any crime beyond a reasonable doubt. People outside of this building have rights, and we know that they have voices, but this criminal trial will be decided by an independent jury, free from outside interference, based only upon the evidence presented in this courtroom and the law. This is the only way to ensure that every person who comes before the court receives a fair trial. It is just that simple and that important. So while public comment will likely continue, the rule of law will be upheld. In order to determine your eligibility to serve on this case, I'm going to ask questions to you all as a group, and then I'm going to ask you to fill out a supplemental questionnaire. We have found that the use of this questionnaire is helpful for several reasons. First, there are some personal questions on it, and we ask that you be candid. In addition, in the process of filling out the questionnaire, you're provided the opportunity to be more reflective as you answer the questions rather than being put on the spot and asked to give immediate answers. After you fill out the questionnaires, we'll have you come up to the sidebar one at a time so that we can follow up on your answers to the questionnaire and to questions I will have of you. I want to thank you in advance for your patience as we go through this process. As you may know, the lawyers for the parties participate in the selection of the jury. Under our law, each of the parties has the right to exercise what we call juror challenges. This means that each party has the right to challenge a certain number of prospective jurors for any reason or for no reason at all. Therefore, some of you may be excused during the impanelment procedure. If you're not selected for jury service on this case, please don't take it personally. Don't think that somehow you're not a fair person. It's not a reflection on you at all. You will be directed back to the jury room and perhaps picked on a case, different case from another court. In a few minutes, I'll pose a number of questions to you as a group, and you've just taken an oath that requires you to truthfully answer these questions and all questions put to you. If your answer is yes to any question, I will ask you to raise your hand and hold up your juror card in the air with the numbers facing out so that the court officer may read the numbers from the card. You don't have to get the numbers out now because it will still be a few minutes and I'll let you know. The fact that you answer yes to one of my questions does not mean that you're automatically disqualified from serving on this jury. We hear ambulances and fire engines going by every day, many times during the day. And if you're selected as a juror in this trial, we'll be seated in the courtroom across the hallway where we'll hear it even more. So generally, the lawyers stop and I stop talking when we hear it. So if you find a question that I pose to the group is overly intrusive, you can elect to answer that question at sidebar. And I'll probably have additional questions for you which relate to issues that may be raised in the trial and are designed to give us information regarding your ability to serve as a fair and impartial juror, and the lawyers are permitted to ask you questions for the same reason. This is not a test. There is no right or wrong answer. All we're looking for is your best, honest answer to the questions. Now, I have a witness list that I'm going to read to you, and it is very lengthy. It doesn't mean that all of these witnesses will be called as jurors, but you will likely hear about these witnesses. So I'd ask that you listen carefully because in a few minutes I'm going to ask you if you know any of these witnesses. It's alphabetical, but it's alphabetical according to first name. So Aidan Kearney from Jefferson, Massachusetts. Dr. Isaac Wolf from South Miami, Florida. Alfred Lopalato from Canton. Allison McCabe from Canton. Andre Porto from the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab. Andrew Klain from Bridgewater. Andrew Rentschler, PhD from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Excuse me. Angela Malvone from Canton, Mass. Annie Chung from Canton. Anthony Flamati from the Canton Fire Department. Ashley Bell from Canton. Ashley Villier from the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab. Brian Albert, Norwood. Brian Albert Jr., Boston. Brian Higgins, Sandwich. Brian Loughran, Canton. Brian Wanless, who is retired from the Canton Police Department. Bridget Meehan, who is a keeper of the record for Canton. Caitlin Albert, Easton, Mass. Lieutenant Charles Ray of the Canton Police Department. Police Chief Helena Rafferty of Canton. Chris Van E., who's a PhD from Novi, Michigan. Christina Hanley from Massachusetts State Police. Christopher Albert, Canton. Christopher Curran, Canton. Colleen Crawford from the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. Colin Albert, Canton. Courtney Proctor, Canton. Kurt Roberts, Canton. Daniel Whitley from the Canton Fire Department. Daniel Wolf, PhD from Penns Park, Pennsylvania. Derek Ellington from Wake Forest, North Carolina. Dr. Marie Russell from Los Angeles. Dr. Elizabeth LaPosada from Providence, Rhode Island. Elizabeth Proctor from Canton. Eric Hanlon from Canton. Erin Beatty from Canton. Erin O'Keefe from West Bridgewater. Francis Walsh from the Canton Fire Department. Garrett Wing from Green Cove Springs, Florida. Gary Fowler from Brockton. Gregory Woodbury from the Canton Fire Department. Gretchen Voss from Boston. Hannah Knowles from the State Police Crime Lab. Heather Maxon from Walpole. Herberto Hernandez from the Boston Police Department. Holly Price from Mountain View, California. Ian Whiffen from Vienna, Virginia. Dr. Irene Scortabello, who is with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, Massachusetts. James Crosby, who's a PhD from Jacksonville, Florida. Jason Becker from the Canton Fire Department. Jean DeMoulis from Canton. Jennifer McCabe, also Canton. Jessica Hyde from Bridgeport, New York. John O'Keefe Sr. from Braintree. Judson Welcher, who is a PhD from a company called Aperture LLC. Julie Albert from Canton. Julie Nagel, also from Canton. Dr. Justin Rice from South Weymouth. There are two juveniles from Canton, one of whom's initials are KF and the other PF. Caitlin Boudreau from Raynham, Karina Kolakathis from Canton, Katie Camarano from Canton, Katie McLaughlin from the Canton Fire Department, the keeper of the records for Ring from Hawthorne, California, Kerry Curran from Canton, Kerry Roberts, also Canton, Kevin Albert, also Canton, Kevin O'Hara from the Massachusetts State Police, Lance Mello from the State Police Crime Lab, Laura Sullivan from Pembroke, Laurie Cahill from Worcester, Leslie Pearlstein from Canton, Lieutenant Michael Lank from the Canton Police Department, Louis Jutras from Canton, Lieutenant Brian Tully from the Massachusetts State Police, Lieutenant John Fanning, also State Police, Lieutenant Paul Gallagher from the Canton Police Department, Maggie Gaffney from Bonita Springs, Florida, Mark Lopalato from Canton, Margaret O'Keefe from Canton, Marietta Sullivan from Pembroke, Mary Souza from Dighton, Matthew Amory from Canton, Matthew DeSogra from Charlotte, North Carolina, Matthew Erickson from Grosse Pointe Farms, Michigan, Matthew Kelly from the Canton Fire Department, Matthew Kelsch from the FBI, Matthew McCabe from Canton, Maureen Harnett from the Mass State Police Crime Lab, Megan Mariani from New York, Michael Camarano from Canton, Michael Easter from Los Angeles, Michael Trotter from Canton, Michael Wagner from Foxborough, Mike Maroli from Bridgewater, Mike Rushworth from Thompson Station, Tennessee, Natalie Weewick Berschneider from San Marino, California, Nathan Reed from Raynham, Nicholas Bradford from Lorton, Virginia, Nicholas Curran from West Roxbury, Nicholas Kolakethis from Canton, Nicole Albert from Norwood, Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey, Officer Kelly Deaver from the Boston Police Department, Officer Nicholas Barros from the Dighton Police Department, Patrick Haggerty from Somerset, Paul Mikowski from Melrose, Paul O'Keefe from Canton, Rebecca Bison from Canton, Rebecca Trayers from Norfolk, Mass., Dr. Renee Stonebridge, also from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner at Boston, Richard Green from St. Pete Beach, Florida, Richard Donatino from Canton, Robert Gilman from Hull, Ryan Nagel from Canton, Sarah Levinson from Canton, Sergeant Brian Gallerini from the Needham Police Department, Sergeant Sean Good from the Canton Police Department, Sergeant Paul Giampetro, from the Canton Police Department, Sergeant Yuri Buchanan from the Massachusetts State Police, Shannon Burgess from South Lake, Texas, Cheryl Waugh from Canton, Sophie Herzon from the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, Stephanie Devlin, also from the Crime Lab, Stephen Mullaney from the Canton Police Department, Steve Nelson from the Norfolk DA's office, Stephen Bernstein, who's a keeper of the records in Stoughton, Stephen Ridge from the Boston Police Department, Stephen Seraph from the Canton Police Department, Stephen Scanlon from West Roxbury, Terry Kuhn from Davis, California, Tess Chart from Lorton, Virginia, Thomas Beatty from Canton, Thomas Kelleher from Canton, Thomas Martin from Weymouth, Timothy Nuttall from the Canton Fire Department, Tristan Morris from Easton. The following are Massachusetts State Troopers. Tristan Morris is from Easton, Mass. Trooper Connor Keefe, Trooper David DeChico, Trooper Evan Brent, Trooper Jeffrey Koskowski, Trooper Joseph Paul, Trooper Kathleen Prince, Trooper Michael Proctor, Trooper Nicholas Garino, Trooper Zachary Clark. Wendell Robery from Canton, Mass., and William Reed from North Dighton, Massachusetts. I appreciate your patience in listening to that list. There are a lot of people, so obviously this trial is going to take a while. We've already begun our impanelment process. We will continue to impanel. We don't know how long that's going to take. As soon as we start the trials, the lawyers tell me that their best estimate is that the evidence in this case will take 6 to 8 weeks. That's an estimate. It's a good faith estimate. We do the best we can to let you know in advance how long we expect something to take. It may go a little longer. It may go a little shorter. If you're selected as a juror, I will let you know at the end of every day. It's my practice to let jurors know where we stand, if we're on schedule, if we're behind schedule, which I can tell you has not happened, or if we're ahead of schedule. So I let you know every day where we are. That's the best we can do, and it's a good faith estimate. We just want to give you as much information as we can in advance, as much as we can. We expect that the case will go from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock every day. We'll take a break around 11 o'clock for 15 or 20 minutes or so. Lunch will be provided to you. We're trying to take advantage of your time here with us. So rather than break for an hour to go out for lunch, which usually turns into an hour and 15 minutes or longer by the time we get things set up, we want to keep you here for a lunch break. We'll provide lunch for you, and we'll continue to move the trial forward throughout the day. The afternoon will go from 2 o'clock or so, or right after lunch, maybe 1:30, and you'll go until about 4 in the afternoon. There'll be some days here and there that we won't be in session, and there'll be a few more days that we'll do half days, just morning. So we'll let you know in advance those dates.
No half days.
And again, that's the best
Boo.
we can tell you now. So it might help you if I also give you a preview right now about some basic law that applies to criminal cases like this. As I've said, it's my job to teach the jury the law, and I don't do that completely until the end of the trial. So for now, I'll give you a brief summary of some of the very important legal principles that will govern this trial. First, and most basically, Ms. Reed starts this trial presumed to be innocent. The fact that she was arrested or that she was indicted is not proof of anything. An indictment is just a piece of paper. It just makes an accusation. An indictment is merely a formal manner of accusing a person of a crime in order to bring that person to trial in the superior court. But it is only the jury, in other words, you folks, who can decide whether the prosecution has proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt. If the Commonwealth does not do that, then the presumption of innocence requires you to find the defendant not guilty. The law does not require a defendant to prove his or her innocence or to produce any evidence whatsoever or to do anything other than attend the trial. This presumption of innocence remains with the defendant until the jury make your determination after you listen and consider all of the evidence. Another important principle of law is that the defendant has an absolute right not to testify, since the entire burden of proof in this case is on the Commonwealth to prove that she is guilty. Under our system of law, a defendant has a perfect right to say to the government, "You accuse me, now you prove it, and prove it beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty. I do not have to say a word." A defendant's decision whether or not to testify has nothing to do with the question of whether she is guilty or not. The jury must not consider it in any way or even discuss it in their deliberations. Jurors in a criminal case must determine whether the Commonwealth has proved its case against the defendant beyond a reasonable doubt based solely on the testimony of the witnesses and the exhibits. Now that brings me to reasonable doubt. What is proof beyond a reasonable doubt? The term is often used and probably pretty well understood, but it is not easily defined. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt does not mean proof beyond all possible doubt, for everything in the lives of human beings is open to some possible or imaginary doubt. A charge is proved beyond a reasonable doubt if, after you have compared and considered all of the evidence, you have in your minds an abiding conviction to a moral certainty that the charge is true. When we refer to moral certainty, we mean the highest degree of certainty possible in matters relating to human affairs, based solely on the evidence that has been put before you in the case. I have told you that every person is presumed to be innocent unless and until he or she is proved guilty, and that the burden of proof is on the Commonwealth. If you evaluate all the evidence and you still have a reasonable doubt remaining, the defendant is entitled to the benefit of that doubt and must be acquitted. It is not enough for the Commonwealth to establish a probability, even a strong probability, that the defendant is more likely to be guilty than not guilty. That is not enough. Instead, the evidence must convince you of the defendant's guilt to a reasonable and moral certainty. A certainty that convinces your understanding and satisfies your reason and judgment as jurors who are sworn to act conscientiously on the evidence. This is what we mean by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, our system of justice depends on judges like me and jurors like you being able and willing to make careful and fair decisions. All people deserve fair and equal treatment in our system of justice, regardless of their race, national origin, religion, age, ability, gender, sexual orientation, education, income level, or any other personal characteristic. You have agreed to be fair, and I'm sure that you want to be fair, but that is not always easy. One difficulty comes from our own built-in expectations and assumptions. They exist even if we're not aware of them, and even if we believe we do not have them. Some of you may have heard this called implicit bias, and that's what I'm talking about. Now, of course, we judges have the same problem as everyone else, so let me share a few strategies that we have found useful. First, slow down. Do not rush to a decision. Hasty decisions are more likely to reflect stereotypes or hidden biases. Second, keep an open mind. Avoid drawing conclusions until the end of the case when you and your fellow jurors deliberate. Remember that when you deliberate, you will have all the evidence and all the time you need to make a careful decision. So there truly is no need to start making your mind up before then. Third, you should listen closely to all the witnesses. That is the best way to ensure that you decide this case based on the evidence and the law instead of upon unsupported assumptions. Fourth, as you listen to the testimony about the people involved in the case, consider them as individuals rather than as members of a particular group. And finally, I might ask myself, would I view the evidence differently if the people were from different groups, such as different racial, ethnic, or gender identity groups? At the end of the case, I will remind you of these strategies and ask you to focus on the evidence instead of any unsupported assumptions you may have. All we ask is that you, individually and as a group, do your best to resolve this case based upon the evidence and the law without sympathy, bias, or prejudice to the best of your ability as human beings. Now, I know that some of this may be confusing, and perhaps all of it's confusing at this early stage of the case. You'll certainly be in a better position to understand this at the end of the case when you have heard the evidence and I can explain the law in detail. So don't be worried if you didn't catch everything I've said. Why am I telling you these things now? Because we need to know if you are able to follow the law in this case. You don't necessarily have to agree with the law, but all jurors will have to apply the law as I describe it. So, for jury selection, it is important to know if any of you might have some doubts whether you can accept and follow these legal principles. So go ahead and take those cards out because I'm going to start asking you those questions. But before we begin, I understand that sometimes jurors do not fill out the juror questionnaires completely. Sometimes we're in a rush to get those forms back in, or sometimes we think that maybe our experience doesn't apply to the question that's asked. So when you come up to sidebar, if we see that something's missing, sometimes people forget to put in a work experience. Many times people forget to put in their age, and we do ask about that. We need that for purposes of this impanelment. But sometimes people forget to put in whether they were a witness in a case that was in court, a defendant, another litigant. So if there's anything that's missing, we'll ask you. But if you know that you didn't put something on there, please let us know at sidebar. All right, so if your answer is yes to any question that I ask, please raise your hand until the court officer reads your number. Do any of you folks or close personal friend or family member know, or have you had any prior dealings with any of the witnesses whose names you heard?
Juror number 343, 360, 347, 339, I swear we can scratch 360.
Thank you.
Juror number 348, juror number 344, juror number 333, juror number 310, juror number 355, juror number 332, juror number 323, and juror number 312.
Okay. Thank you. Do any of you folks or close personal friend or family member know, or have you had any prior dealings with the lawyers in this case or the Norfolk County DA's office?
Juror number 326, juror number 328.
Thank you. Do any of you folks or a close personal friend or family member have any financial or other personal interest whatsoever in this case or its outcome? I see no affirmative responses. Please raise your hand if you have seen, heard, or talked about this case.
Juror number 319, juror number 317, 352, 353, 311, 343, 360, 347, 354, 324, 328, 322, 326, 339.
Juror number 330, juror number 357, juror number 321, juror number 333, juror number 351, juror number 344, juror number 348, juror number 361, juror number 341, juror number 310, juror number 340, juror number 334, juror number 338, juror number 355, juror number 332, juror number 349, juror number 325, juror number 323, juror number 337, juror number 350, juror number 312, and juror number 359.
Lastly, juror 329.
All right, thank you very much. Could you please raise your hand if you have expressed or formed any opinion with respect to this case?
Juror number 319, 353, 311, 343, 347, 354, 322, 326, 339.
Juror number 330, juror number 333, juror number 344, juror number 348, juror number 361, juror number 341, juror number 310, juror number 334, juror number 320, juror number 312, juror number 350, and juror number 325.
Thank you. Are any of you aware of any bias or prejudice that you may have in regard to this case or in favor of or against either of the parties? Please raise your hand.
Juror number 326, 328, 354, 319.
Thank you. Do any of you folks have any difficulty hearing or any problem with understanding the English language or any physical or mental condition or any religious or philosophical beliefs that would interfere with your ability to hear the evidence in this case, to understand the evidence, to concentrate during the trial, or to deliberate for the purpose of reaching a verdict? Could you please raise your hand if you do?
Juror number 344, juror number 321, juror number 325, and juror number 342.
Thank you.
Number 360, 324.
Thank you. Please raise your hand if you think you will have any difficulty following the important constitutional concepts that I've described to you. First, that the Commonwealth has the entire burden of proof in this case. Second, that that burden of proof is proof beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty. And third, that the defendant is presumed innocent and does not have to do a thing other than sit in that chair for the trial. Would anybody have any difficulty applying those very important constitutional principles? If so, please raise your hand. I see no affirmative responses. I can tell you folks that after every jury trial, I talk to jurors. And though they may not have been thrilled about having jury duty, they always tell me that they have found the experience to be a very interesting one. And often jurors tell me that they find it to be a very rewarding one. But I do understand that with this case and this schedule, it may be an undue hardship for some of you. Let me tell you what I mean by undue hardship. When I told you earlier that all civic duties cause us some inconvenience, an undue hardship or a substantial hardship is much more than that. It's something that means that it's personal to you, and the person sitting next to you will then have to step in and give up time from their lives. I generally think of it in terms of either you're a student or you have airline tickets or surgery scheduled for the time that we will be on trial. So with that in mind and that very rough definition, please raise your hand if you think that you have a substantial hardship that will prevent you from being a juror in this case.
Juror number 319, 317, 352, 311, 343, 360, 354, 326.
Juror number 361, juror number 348, juror number 351, juror number 346, juror number 333, juror number 355, juror number 338, juror number 334, juror number 310, juror number 341, juror number 350, juror number 323, and juror number 325.
Okay. So in a minute, I'm going to leave the bench and give you an opportunity to fill out those supplemental questionnaires. I ask that when you do so that you don't talk to anybody about your answers to the questions or to share any comments with other jurors or concerns that you may have about being a juror in general or a juror in this case. If you have any questions or concerns, you can talk to me when we come back out. So with that, we will be in recess. Jim?
Yes.
Court, all right, please.
She says recess, but it's not a recess because they don't ever come back until what, the end of the day? Like, as we know, they didn't the first day, their recess. I mean, she says recess, but we don't see anything else after this. This is it. This is literally it. So, real quick, I just want to read this since it came in a little bit ago, but they were talking, so I wasn't obviously going to interrupt the court. I have a $15 Venmo. I'm not going to read the name because it's their real name, not their screen name. But it says, "You are a dynamite channel. I appreciate that. Thank you so much." I don't read, as you guys know, I don't read real names. It's for the purposes of keeping people safe. But thank you very much for your $15 donation to the channel. I appreciate it more than you know. Let me just make sure there's no PayPals. Okay. If anybody else wants to donate, there's a ticker at the bottom of the screen that shows you how: Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. We really appreciate it so that we can keep bringing you this kind of content and we can keep doing this work. Well, I agree. There's so Lou, I get it. You'd have to be living under a rock, but I assure you, some people, sorry, my leg is itchy. Some people in this state do live under a rock. Not everybody reads like the news or like, you know what I mean? And there are, like Freak points out, over 725,000 people just in Norfolk County alone in this state. Norfolk County is enormous. So there are going to be some people. Now that we know some of these numbers, that, you know, we're up to like 300 and I think I heard like the highest number was like 350 something or maybe 360. But that's, so we've only seated 7 jurors out of 300 and something people. So I guess if you look at how many people they've gone through to get to that point, I guess 7 isn't all that much. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean that they're going to find, like, the first day they found 2, the second day they found 5. So we don't know. We could maybe find 1 today, or maybe they find another 4 or 5. Like, I said I didn't think it would take a month to find the jury here. I still don't think that. I think maybe it'll take, 2 weeks at the most, if that. But I think, it's the next problem is going to be swearing in the jury. Is the judge going to swear the jury in before the federal court comes down with a decision, right? The federal court still has Karen's case, even though they were asked for it to be like sped up basically because of the trial. We still don't have an answer on that yet. So until we do, I'm not sure if the judge is going to swear in the jury, because then it risks double jeopardy. Although I know, and all of you know, that ultimately it will be denied, and double jeopardy cannot attach if there was no verdict, and there was no verdict. So you can't attach double jeopardy if there's no verdict. And also, if they're forced to bring in the other jurors, I'm not sure every juror is going to sit there and say that they voted not guilty. I don't think that that's the case at all. I think you're only hearing from the mob type jurors that are claiming that. So you're allowed to change your that's just a vote they did. That wasn't a, end thing done. So it's like, okay, what is exactly going to happen? Like, is she going to swear in the jury? Like, or is she going to wait and see if the federal appeals court hurries up? Because at this rate, it'll be quick when we get this. They get paid, like, I think someone looked it up and it was like $50 a day after the third day. You get nothing for the first 3 days, and then it's like $50 a day. So it's nothing near what you would need to get paid if you were a lower income person like me. You wouldn't be able to afford to just do that for 6 or 8 weeks for a trial. Yeah, I'm with Heather on this one. I don't see them offering him a damn thing, to be perfectly honest. And maybe that's just because I have a little more information than the rest of the world, but I just don't see them giving him anything at all. Like, oh yeah, I think, he lives on, him and Karen, they live on the internet, and it's like, not all of us do, like, after I'm not here with you guys, I might check, X. I haven't even checked X in like 2 days, which I need to do because I just looked at it a minute ago and I'm like, oh shit, I have 8 messages. Like, I need to, respond to those. But not everybody lives on YouTube and X, like, we go about our daily lives after this, so it's, I don't know, like, those people sort of like live there all the time. God forbid, like, you don't answer one of them for like 8 hours. They're like, oh, see, you didn't answer. I was right. Like, no, I didn't answer because I was doing real life. That's, what I'm saying? Like, and we have to remember that not everybody uses social media the way that we do, especially older people. So they may not even know that this exists. Like, even if they were watching the news, they could have just been like one of those people that don't like to listen to anything that has to do with like crime. Like, my grandmother was that kind of person. Like, if it was about crime or people dying, she would just click it off immediately. Like, she was like, I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about, like, what our government is doing. I want to hear about like where our money's being spent. I want to hear about the good things that happen. I don't want to hear about that bullshit. So, I mean, there are people, that I think haven't heard of this case. Or if they have, it's maybe they heard the name just on the news, but they don't really know much about it. Like, thank you, Ashley. I appreciate you. They have met their match, Angela. We are their match. No, the stay was denied, Maui. So she asked for the federal court to step in and stay this trial. So there was 2 separate things going for the federal court, not one. I think people were getting confused that there's 2, not one. One is the stay that she asked for, which was denied. And then it was the other one where she can still argue. They denied it, but they allowed her to appeal and give like an argument, basically. So that she appealed and gave the argument, in writing, And so the judge still has to wait for that to come back. So it's kind of a gray area, unfortunately at this point. The stay was denied. They said, no, we're not going to stay your trial. Like, but there's 2 of them right now. You said the other day, first one to go to them for a deal gets the deal. He claims he was talking about the other side, except nobody else is being charged. Yeah, no one else is being charged. You have to know that, like, he accidentally does throw shit like that out all the time and then, like, realizes what, like, he said. And also, good morning, Miss Maui. Good morning. Yeah, you can attach double jeopardy if you're Alan Jackson and you just want to make shit up. This is the fact point of view, Miss Kara 26. This is the absolute facts point of view. They would be looking up to Brendan if they weren't looking at hit the shoes. Dude, I actually do check out people's shoes. I said in the last trial that I don't think Alan Jackson took into account that, like, this is not California. So the sort of theatrics that we are used to, like, that he's used to, like, doing in California that might work there is not something that's going to be played well with the jury here in Massachusetts. It's just not. I'm a Bostonian, and I will tell you that that kind of stuff, and I said this in the first trial, isn't going to play well with the jury. And it didn't. And it didn't. Just like I said. You're welcome. Your job has to pay you for the first. Yeah. Usually it's your job will pay you for the first couple. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5. But then after that, you're ultimately screwed. Yeah. Yes, but they allowed her to do an appeal. So that's still outstanding. They allowed her to, like, argue it further with the court. It's sort of like an appeal. They allowed her to argue it further with the court. So if the judge doesn't wait for that decision from them to come down, then you are risking double jeopardy if at any point they decide that any of the charges need to be thrown out. So it's kind of like a sticky situation, Well, they do. That's the other problem, and I think they, like, fail to understand that ours do not. Like, oh, they put a new oh, I love this. Did we get a picture of it? We need a picture. I might have to ask, my sister to take a picture of it. She lives in that area, my other sister, and tell her to send it to me, you know? So it was, but she was allowed to make further arguments on it. So, like, that sort of leaves the door open until they either say yes or no on those further arguments. Yeah, it's just 3 days. It's so stupid. I don't understand that. Like, they should pay for the entire time you're on jury duty because it's your duty, right? Like, you don't have a choice. Like, yeah, they did, but they allowed her to argue further. So it's like it's still sort of open in a way that, like, they need an answer from them. Instead of fearing AI, confront it, trying to teach it morals and ethics. Go me. Yes, go you. She probably is shitting bricks. I kid you not. Like, just heard a name on the witness list I sold a house to when I lived in Canton. Oh boy. Who do you know who it was? Was it one of the people that, like, are just in, like, friends and family, or was it like one of the, like, people who work at one of the companies? Yeah, last time I think it was 5 days. The defense filed a motion last night to get access to jurors' name list. Why they want those names so bad? Yeah, so they can leak them. We know why. We absolutely know why. And so that they can go sneak on their social media, I'm guessing. They've picked 7 so far. 7 so far. As of the last 2 days, it's 7. Right? You can't be on the jury anymore, Eva. Sorry. Like, I thought the same thing. Like, maybe some older people will see through this bullshit, like some seniors. Like, I feel like don't pick middle-aged, women from the Canton area. Yes, exactly. Yes, the judge did say that. she wasn't going to swear them in until she has a ruling from the circuit. So, but I wonder, this is what I'm wondering, if it takes faster than she assumed it would, and there is no ruling, what does she do? Does she just wait? Or is she going to swear them in and keep this trial on course? I mean, it's a sticky situation to be in as a judge. I really just want to know what she's going to do. I mean, she said that, though, based on the fact that she thought it would take a month to seat jurors in this. So, well, that's another problem, Joy. Usually when they, heard about it, it's more of the crap that they heard from the sewer turtle, like the sewer turtle guys, where his Dear John letters and I'm Diary of O&B Sewer Turtle. Guys, don't disseminate my information. I don't care about anybody else's information, but mine, the sewer turtle. I'm more important. Me. This is me. I'm important, Your Honor. Your Honor. Please don't do to me what everybody else I have done to them. Don't do that same thing to me, Your Honor. I'm the sewer turtle. I'm important. Not been allowed in the court and has to stay in the buffer zone. No, he is allowed in the buffer. He's allowed in the court until the trial starts. And he doesn't have to stay in the buffer zone because he has media credentials. He is allowed outside of the buffer zone because he has media credentials, but he can't just stand there. He'd have to be doing something like filming or working of something. Like, he just stands there. So, like, it's not an appeal. They're waiting for the First Circuit to decide on her further argument, because the federal court said denied, but they allowed her with that denial. They said there were sufficient, issues with her rights that she could make an argument about that. And so they gave her the go ahead to do that, and they did. So that's what we're waiting on. No, that's not the confusion, because the lower court denied it. Canoni denied it, then it went up and it was denied again. And then it went to the federal and it was denied there. So after it went to the federal court denied it, but they also allowed further arguments for, like, violations of, not that there was, but that she had at least sufficient, like, arguments for, like, violations of her rights. So they allow them to then argue that. And so the judge doesn't want to at least seat the jury and swear them in until then. And this was what the judge said the day after that denial came in. So she had already known that was denied, but they were allowed to have further arguments on it. So she wants an answer on those further arguments they made. Yeah, no, I think there was about zero chance that she ever had, like I said before, in any of those appeals, if she is on the state defense list. We do have the lists. I can't look for it now because I'm live, but if you want to email me or tell me where I can send you the lists, I can send them to you after the stream's over. They are bottom feeders, you are right. They did affirm the lower court's ruling, but they allowed, like, further arguments. Don't ask me why. I don't understand why they even gave them that, like, in at all. Like, TV said defense preferred younger jurors. Yeah, I think they're looking for women, I think he was definitely out of Karen's league for sure. For sure. The First Circuit. It was the First Circuit. Sewer turtle activities! Activities! Well, you can appeal to SCOTUS, but that isn't going to happen. SCOTUS will just kick it back down and affirm what the lower court said. There's no chance she has any chance for SCOTUS. I would love that for them, Pebbles, if they got a police officer. I think that would be amazing. I think that would be awesome. Yeah, he can't be out there if people are going to be playing it because he's not allowed to listen to it. So, like, they usually sit out there and they play the entire thing, they stream it. So, like, even if he wanted to be outside the courthouse, like, he can't be, like, after jury selection, because, like, he's not allowed to, like, listen to it or anything like that. I think he thinks that because he wanted to, maybe because he wants to claim the fifth, that, like, magically that means that he can do whatever he wants now. It doesn't. They wanna know what you're claiming the fifth on. You don't even know what questions you're being asked yet, so how can you claim the fifth? It has to, like, the fifth has to apply still, you know? Yeah, it's a mystery to a lot of us. I know, right? A scorned woman on steroids. Hilarious. Yeah, I don't think the judge really is gonna wait on anything. I feel like she just wants this to be done, you know? She is a gaslighter. We have, like, a whole thing over on my Discord, and we have, like, little channels, like, they're called, like, channels or, like, subsections, and one of them is called Reed Whacker because, yeah. Stage 5 clinger. I agree with you, Heartstar. She is a stage 5 clinger. Well, this is what they've been doing the entire time, right, Angela? Deny, delay, distract, rinse and repeat. Like, I think a lot of people sort of woke up after the documentary. I'm actually glad to see it now. Crime Cricket. I'm glad to see a lot of these people waking up. Do the little arms, little arms, little arms. Yeah, Your Honor. With my little arms, I'm the silver turtle. Please, please, Your Honor, I'm going to plead the fifth, but I don't want you to say it's incriminating because I can't have my people not pay me if they think I'm lying or hiding crimes. I'm not, I'm only hiding some of my crimes. Yep, we sure do. So if you can't do that and you come in guns blazing calling people names, I suggest you are going to be outie. As far as I know, he was, but you're right. I don't know. If we sit there and listen to the whole list, I'd have to go back and look at the list. I don't know. Oh my God. Is that for, wow, that sucks. I feel like you would have been a good juror, Joy. I feel like you would have been able to take all the information and decide. Like, so that's sticky now, especially after what Karen did in this case. They don't want a juror that magically could be, hopping on the defense later on if there's a mistrial because it's unethical. It's just unethical, Yeah, the defense will be seeking teachers from Canton, the ones that tried to lie and get on the shoot, I'm sorry, but we had to report that. Oh, I didn't even catch their comments because I was, attending to you guys, but I'm assuming they went something like, "Oh, you only have 50 views, 100 views." Like, they make themselves look silly. There's 332 people watching currently, and that is on 2 platforms, X and YouTube. And I love when they come over here and go, "Oh my God, you only have this many views." Yes, I'm a channel of 2,000, a little over 2,000 subscribers. So yes, when my video is live and there's 331 people watching, that's pretty decent. Also learn how streaming goes before you want to insult people. You stream to more than one platform. So the number that you see at the top for the number of people that are there on YouTube is not the actual full number of people watching. It is very unethical. Law enforcement is not allowed on jury. No, they are. They're allowed on juries. But I think you have to be retired for them to in mass. Like they usually don't put a current one because you're on duty. They don't want you missing work, doing this. So you have to be retired as far as I know. That's exactly it, Kings. Even if the whole world believed 2 + 2 = 5 doesn't make it true. That's not how truth works. Right. Like, I think you would have been a good juror, Joy. I do. I personally know 2 of the witnesses, and as in the first trial, they were asked not to watch. Yeah, they were sequestered in the first trial, and they all stayed sequestered. They did. So You know? That's the Stewart turtle impression, guys. That's the Stewart turtle. Yeah, I know that they are touchy with like someone who's related to law enforcement. He wanted to be a magician, but his tiny arm stopped him from hiding things up his sleeves. I mean, I think, you know what? If Richard Green wants to testify to nonsense again, I say let him, because he's going to look like a fool and Brennan's going to eviscerate him on that stand. So it's like, if you want to continue to lie to the world, sir, when it's been debunked 72 times, let them please use Jessica Hyde and Ian Whiffen again, as they're going to completely debunk you not reading a data set correctly. You weren't even certified to read. Like, that's probably I've said that before as well. Like, I think Karen didn't want John and Brian in the same house because they could go into a different room and like talk, you know? Like, it's not at the bar where you can keep an eye on him. Like, it was denied, but they gave her like the right to argue. I can't forget what it exactly is. I'll have to go back and post it for you guys to see. But her attorneys did go and argue, you know, what they thought they should argue, and the judge was waiting on that from the court. The little arms. I think you would follow the evidence. I do think you would follow the evidence. Yeah, thumbs ups. We like those. We like the thumbs ups. Well, I mean, it's hard to not come to that conclusion when all of the evidence points that way. And I don't mean evidence as in, you know, people who are watching Pre-Karen Read and saying, oh, I don't see the missing taillight in a picture with a missing taillight. Like, that one blows my mind. They'll literally be like, I see nothing. It's not there. And there's a literal picture of her missing taillight at, 5 in the morning, 8 in the morning. And they're like, oh, I see nothing, as if it's not right in front of their face. It's just like amazing to me. And it's like, there was absolutely no time for anybody to plant taillight. How was anybody going to plant taillight? Nobody had the car until after 3. Okay. And CERT team was already, so you'd have to have planted taillight in front of an entire CERT team. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not rational. It's not logical. And they had to dig for it. If you drop a piece of taillight into the snow, like, it could go down to the bottom, but it also may stay in the middle, but it's going to make a hole. Like, it might get covered over the top of it, but the middle of it is going to have a hole, right? So you're going to see that these pieces were found pretty much down to the ground. Like, so there's no sign of them being planted. Also, you have Karen's data from her car and her phone data and John's phone data. And those things cannot just be ignored to say, oh, she's innocent. She also has told on herself and changed her story. The truth does not change. It just doesn't. Like, it just doesn't. I was not seated because I said I believe the police officer over the drunk driver. Well, I mean, probably because police officers aren't always right, and sometimes they do lie. So I think that's probably why. But I tend to agree with you on that most times than not, the police officer's not going to lie. But I have seen instances where they will, and they will sit on that stand and they will lie. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, you have to like be weighing all of the evidence. And if they have evidence that cop has lied on the stand before, or that his report doesn't match what he's saying. One time I watched a cop not be able to say a single thing about what happened without reading his entire report. And even after he read his entire report, which they allow them to do, even after he read his entire report and he testified, he still didn't match with what his report said. So they found that person not guilty of a DUI. They said it was well lit. They went out, and the defense went out and took pictures and video of the quote well lit area, and it was pitch black. There was no lighting, like, so there was a lot of like, things that the cop clearly fudged in his report. Hey, Jack. Oh my God, right? 3, 5, plenty of Daubert hearings to go around. I know I do need my fluffy pink pen. I think my little took it and she played with it, so I don't know where it went. But the pen That gets the job done. I usually put it right here on the table here, but I cannot find the pen. But yes, the pen goes with the whole impression, you know? Thankfully, Free clipped it for me. I'm going to have to put it on X. Green Russell. I'm lucky that Karen Reed duper machine. Fact. That's a fact. Karen Reed saying she picked glass out of his face and watched him bleed. That was a very big whoops. We talked about that yesterday because you can't bleed if you're no longer living, right? Like that's not a thing. You cannot bleed if you're not living anymore. So that means that if she picked a piece of glass out and he actually did gush blood, which again, you can't believe anything she says, but if that is true, that means she told on herself, you know? Like it just is what it is. Like dead people don't bleed. And John had no signs of life when they found him at 6 a.m. Jessica Hyde was brilliant. I absolutely loved her testimony. And Ian Whiffins too. Like they explained it in a way that like anybody could understand. And that's what you want your experts to do. You want your experts to get on the stand and explain it to anyone. You don't want them to get on the stand and explain things and then it's all in technical terms and no layperson knows what it means. Like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't. Like we don't have a link, Ash, but at the ticker is this one is the Cash App. And it's the same for Venmo, but with an @ sign instead of a dollar sign. And then PayPal is E. So the ticker right at the bottom there. See that ticker at the bottom? Here, I'll put up the big one for the information. He's asking for the donation information. That's the information. Right there. If you want to copy and paste that, Ash, for like if anybody else asks when I'm not looking, because I'm behind in the comments by 2 minutes or so. Green's mugshot, yeah. I think Hank absolutely is going to play some of them to show that she changed her story a multitude of times, and I think that's exactly what he should do, you know? I do like the mugshot, though, Barb. I agree with you. Oh, Heartstar, that drives me nuts. Why didn't they find the pieces right away? I don't know, because they were in the middle of a friggin' blizzard? Because they're in the middle. They think because they're red, right, that magically they're going to stand out in the dark. Like, come on, dude. His phone, exactly, Miss Kara 26, his phone and Karen's car tell you exactly what happened without any other evidence, okay? Without any other evidence. Like, his phone stops moving forever just seconds after she backs her car up. What does that tell you? It stops moving forever in the place that he is found. Just seconds. So, I mean, it's better. It's as good as a snapshot in time, in my opinion. That's what happened. We know. Like, well, it is. It's kind of like Jennifer, like see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil, right? Like they cannot come to terms with the fact that they have maybe been lied to. And I get it. It's a hard thing to like admit, but like you have to actively be ignoring pieces of evidence and just saying that you refuse to look at any piece of evidence because it's all corrupt. Every piece, all of it is corrupt. Everyone's corrupt. And that's why you can't listen to any of it. The whole thing's corrupt. That's the argument that they have. Everything's corrupt. Not a single piece of evidence against her isn't corrupt, which is obviously a bold-faced lie because you can't fudge John's phone data. You can't fudge Karen's car data. Those pieces of evidence just by themselves, like take the taillight out, right? Take the hair that's on the bumper out, right? Take the dent out, right? Take just the evidence from her car and his phone and her phone. It tells you what happened. And I agree with Crime Cricket. I think Karen Reed has convicted herself like 2,000 times over. Like, abso-freaking-lutely. Like, I think we all want to know that, right? I think we all want to know, did she go back to Fairview prior to picking up Jen and Kerry? Because she happened to know he was that mound of snow and everybody else couldn't see him. The first responders couldn't even see him when he was uncovered from the snow from the road. So how did she know exactly where he was covered in snow? Or it says same as Dr. Dogbite. She couldn't say anything. She had to read what Alessi gave her. And that's a problem because we know he helped her write that thing. Like, you can't help your experts write. They have to write it themselves. Like, yeah, said she never reversed. We know she reversed. Also, at one point, she did 3-point turn. So that's 2 reversals. Like, exactly. The car data couldn't have been fudged. Funny enough, it was her defense experts that missed 8 gigabytes. 8 gigabytes of data, y'all. 8 gigabytes of data were missed by the defense team in the first trial, in the chip on, chip off, because they're the ones who did it, right? Like, it's exactly why I think you'd be a good juror, because you have a brain, Joy, like everybody else, you know, and you can pay attention to detail. You can get that it's critical thinking. You've asked a couple questions even today that I'm like, all right, that's a critical brain, right? Like, you're asking some questions you want to know, right? Like, I honestly think like a lot of us could be decent jurors. I'm not going to go in there just saying like, oh, you know what? I know what happened. Like, if there's some piece of evidence that can sway me one way or another, give it to me. Give it to me. I say the same thing for Karen Reed. Give it to me. Give me the piece of evidence that sways me one way or another. Something concrete, not something you made up, not speculation, something with actual evidence to it. Because as we know, they're still screaming Colin did it, and Colin wasn't even there when Karen and John arrived. He was already home. I can see that in my head as well, Amber. Heard like screaming and driving. Like, I also want to know what the deal with that one is. Whether she says, John, is that you? Or John, where are you? Because it's kind of fuzzy, you know? Like, and the Ring cam, yeah, the stuff that was deleted. Now they have someone that's gonna testify from Ring, right? I think we learned last trial though that they can't tell whether something was deleted. Ring can't tell whether something was deleted or when. But I don't know. Maybe they're going to testify to the fact that things don't just go missing, right? So those videos wouldn't have just gone missing unless a user deleted them. Sorry, Billy, but Jen's never going to be locked up. She didn't do anything wrong. So, you know, I don't know if they told you yet, but the federal investigation is over, bud. It's been over for a long time. She could have left her phone, definitely. She could have. Yes, Dr. Rentschler, I thought, was more reasonable than Dr. Wolf. Dr. Wolf was just defiant and was just like, nope, don't care. Like, what I say is got to be the truth, even if I had 10 times more evidence, which is just not reasonable for any expert to say. And he said, you know, no, Karen could not have broken her taillight clipping John's car, but she clears it. Her taillight clears his car completely. It's the bumper that hits it, the bumper. Well, that's the thing, right? Most of the reasons why they claimed in the beginning were all debunked already. It was already debunked, like completely debunked. So I don't really understand why. I mean, I do understand why. You know what I mean? Because they're in this world that like everything is where in their brains all leads to a conspiracy, right? Like, so, but it's not. It's not. Like, you can take out all the people they claim are. I mean, come on. We have the sewer turtle telling everybody that now that it's not Proctor that planted the taillight. He's been telling people that for 2 years, but it's not Proctor anymore that planted the taillight, right? Like, so it's like, come on, man. Like, realistically, nobody could have planted it. They didn't have the time or the opportunity or any of that. Like, they just didn't. Like, I have 2 donations here I'm going to read. One from Jennifer for $20. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I appreciate it. And one from Tom for 10. Thank you, Tom, so much. I'm not going to read you guys' last names. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that here. Just so that, you know, the FKR mob doesn't try to harass people. Maybe I missed it. But as far as I knew, she was still allowed to argue. There was something she was allowed to argue. And the judge wanted that. Yeah, I think you might be in the wrong chat. This is not pro or not pro. We are pro facts. Yeah, there was a lot of snow in Canton got hit like in the area, the worst of that entire area. Like, yeah, I would love to. I have the answer for that question that Joy just asked. Exactly what would she be locked up for? Like, yeah, see, that would be good, Jen, right? If they could see when it was deleted, but not which video, because we know which videos, right? Like, I love this. I love this so much. I love that they're putting up billboards of John to remember him. I think you have listened too much to the cult over there, Billy. Maybe it's time to open your mind a little about the truth of the matter and the things that have been lied about this entirety of the time. All right. Well, if you can't be, one of those people that has an open mind and maybe listens to what we have to say, then I guess you're in the wrong chat there, bub. Guess you're in the wrong chat. $12.41 and $12.55. Yeah. This is what I mean by trolling. If you're coming in just to troll and yell, free Karen Reed, then you're in the wrong place. Like, we have hate watchers. I mean, we all know we do. But we have plenty of people who come in here who are, think she's innocent and actually come and listen and ask questions. And I appreciate those people for coming in and listening and asking questions, because you never just want to sit in an echo chamber. I've looked at this case from every way that there is to look at it. And I will tell you, I was one of those people that thought she was innocent in the beginning, but we didn't have any evidence then. We do now. And there's evidence you just can't sit there and ignore. You just cannot. It's not, cannot sit there and just ignore it. It's not a thing. So, I mean, time to wake up, time to wakey, eggs and bakey. There are plenty of questions to be asked. And I actually love when people ask the questions, because then we can give them the answers, or we can tell them where to go look, right? I love to tell people, don't even listen to what I have to say. You don't even have to listen to me or take what I'm saying to be truth. Go actually look. We can tell you where about to look. So actually just check it out. Just go look, I did, Jack. I did. I gave it a minute, but I did. I freed him from said chat. Yeah, the talking to her parents at 1 a.m. is really strange to me. I mean, I definitely couldn't be a juror now, because I have the strong opinions about her guilt and what I know to be the evidence at this point. But if I had only just heard of it and I hadn't seen all the evidence and I didn't know everything I knew now, then probably, Yeah, I don't know if it was a text or she just called them. I've never heard of a text. I heard of the call, definitely. Yeah, I gave him the boot because he clearly was not even attempting to listen or ask questions. It was just a time to troll and scream free Karen Reed and say Jen should be arrested for what? What would Jen go to jail for? I would like to know. Didn't, so when she hit him, she goes directly backwards. So we know that, but she did do a 3-point turn at one point before that. So yeah, I appreciate the people who think that she's innocent, who come in and actually ask questions and want to have just a discussion or a civil debate, a civil kind discussion or debate. We had a couple of them yesterday, and I can appreciate that they wanted a sort of different point of view, and they were actually stunned because apparently they had been in other people's chats that day, other people on this side, and they just got, pretty much, bullied. And if you come in here and you're not being a jerk and you're not just trolling and you're not being snarky or rude, I got no problem with anybody coming in and asking questions. I think it's smart to ask questions. It's very smart to ask questions. We should all want people to ask questions. And how can we guide people to the truth if we just push them away immediately? So that's why I always give them a minute to see if it's just trolling or whatever. But if you're just going to troll, I mean, there is no purpose of that. It's not constructive, right? I would love to know how they're going to defend that card data, Eva. I would love to know, just like you, because there's nothing that they can, they just can't. Yeah, we were just talking about that, how they have a ring witness on the Commonwealth's list. So I think he's definitely going to say some interesting stuff. I think that's going to be quite interesting to watch. What about the time yeah, they very well might have that information too, like what time the website was accessed, maybe, or the app. So that would give an idea of what time she maybe deleted it, Absolutely, Barb. I agree with you that if she dropped him off at Market Basket, she would blame the cashiers. I think she just doesn't want to take accountability. You know, that'll do, pig. That'll do. That reminds me of Babe, Pig in the City. I'm sorry, I watched that movie as a kid. I loved that movie. Yeah, the saying John's dead, right? Like over and over, like he got hit by a plow, or Kerry, he's dead, click, all of those things. I'm sorry, but that's not the immediate thing I would think at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. I'm going to think he's sleeping it off somewhere, or he's ignoring me because we're in an argument or a fight at that point. Like I'm leaving nasty messages. I'm assuming he's just ignoring me. I am assuming until it gets later in the day and I still haven't heard from him that something is wrong. I'm not assuming at 5 in the morning that he's dead and hit by a plow. Why would you ever assume that he's dead and hit by a plow? That's a really strange thing to opine about right in the morning and call people at 4 something in the morning. The Cameranos, I think it was like Katie Camerano was like 4:50 in the morning or something. Like woke the niece up out of bed. Say John's dead and hit by a plow to the niece. Like the text stream data, I'm so ready to see that text stream data. You have no idea. Like I do think they'll have timestamps. And yeah, that's what they do though. It's the police driving it on and off the ramp. Remember that one, you guys? That whole thing. And it's like, no, that's at the wrong time. Like that's not the right key. Like, so I think they're gonna say that even if the evidence shows otherwise, because if you guys noticed in the last trial, when Jessica Hyde was explaining like the stuff and she was saying like basically you can't prove a negative. You can't prove something that didn't happen, right? Like it didn't happen, right? They didn't listen to 9/10 of either Jessica Hyde or Ian Whiffen. They only heard things like the word deleted. So when Jessica Hyde said that it wasn't user deleted, but that the phone sort of deletes it to put it into the background instead of on the screen, it puts it into the background of the data, it deletes it. It's not a user deletion, as in the person who has the phone didn't delete it. It's the phone just putting it in the background. All they heard was the word deleted. So they went with that. Well, I heard Jessica Hyde say deleted, so she deleted it. They didn't listen to the context the word was used in, which they normally don't anyway. They just pull specific words and go with their ridiculous theory. And it's like, I can't argue with stupidity, right? I just have to laugh and move on, because it's like, even if you point out to them they were wrong and that's not what was said and they can go back and look, usually it's something like, you're ugly, go fuck yourself, you suck. Like, instead of actually being like, oh, really? Oh, where can I look at that? And like, oh, maybe I was wrong. Like, I'm going to check it out and I'll be back to tell you what I think. Most people don't do that. They just say, nope, you're an idiot. She said delete it. And it's like, I can't. The critical thinking is lacking over there. It is. Def Auto said, trying to reason with free Karen Reed's like explaining middle-aged folks that Earth revolves around the sun. Yeah, they want to lock Jen up for what, though? Yeah, but exactly. But Karen's entitled to the presumption of innocence in a fair trial. But lock Jen up. Like, some of these people actually still think the feds are coming. They're not coming. Okay? They're not coming. They never were. A year before they announced this closure, it was already done. Okay? Yeah, I know. Hanky added some extra people in this year. Yes, thank you both very much. I appreciate anybody who donates to the channel, because not everybody has it, and it's a struggle when you're a small channel. Well, that's the other thing, right? What do they have to gain by saying Proctor didn't plant pieces? I don't know. They're saying someone else did. And most of the time when they do it, it's because they know something's coming that'll prove otherwise. So it's their way of like trying to do damage control ahead of time. I've seen them do this whole damage control ahead of time many times. Like, so damning that law enforcement would be looking at the possible murder weapon. Yeah, right? God forbid the cops do their job and actually look at the vehicle like they're supposed to, or the broken taillight like they're supposed to. Like, defense just requested the clerk's list of jurors. Oh boy. You know what we should do? We should check John's ex real quick. Let's do that. We should do that because he always keeps us up to date on what's happening in that courtroom, and he always gives us truth. So we should look. Morning on this rainy Thursday. I'm inside the courtroom as jury selection continues in the Karen Reed case. I wonder if there's anything else written underneath it. Nope. Usually the updates I get come from him. 30 minutes. Okay. I'm hearing the juror turned defense team member, Vicky George, is taking a hit for this disaster. Since Karen Reed can't be blamed, Reed sounds like an entitled teen announcing her snack and blurting out the defense is not being paid. Victoria George needs to babysit her bestie. Wowza. The irony here, after countless interviews, daily press conferences, the Reed team now asked the state police, who they have tarnished and besmirched at every turn, to protect Karen from the media. Oh my God. Alan Jackson, who requested the entire media apparatus be penned in at the base of the court stairs for the duration of the Karen Reed and John O'Keefe trial. That's strange. Oh, there's the billboard, you guys! There's the billboard. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Hold on. New billboard in Braintree brought to you by those who love John. Please say a prayer for them today. Justice is coming. There it is. JusticeForJohnO'Keefe.com. I do wish that JusticeForJohnO'Keefe.com would include other people's content other than Kevin and Kate. I think there are many other people who have been covering this case for an extremely long period of time, including Boundless and a bunch of other people. They should, include more than just two people's content on this case. Hank needs to point out that when John was lifted up, the grass was green. Yeah, he was lifted up from, that's what was underneath him, was the ground. I'm not going to bet on it, but I'll definitely keep an eye out, It was snowing yesterday in California? What? I mean, it's unusual even for New England, but it does happen here sometimes. Yeah, the feds are coming. Yeah, she did. She did allow them to visit 34 Fairview. They talked about Ring, but they didn't have an expert for it. They can. I think that maybe that's why they want their names. They probably want to go look at their social media and stuff, Right? By the end of this, Victoria will be like, yeah, she's guilty. She's a control freak and a narcissist. Oh, you didn't think she was until you actually had to deal with her, right? Same as the sewer turtle. Everybody who deals with the sewer turtle in the small arms gets burned. Every single person. So he literally turns to shit everything he touches. The fact that she was already thinking about covering up her involvement when she tapped John's car for the cameras is very telling. Yeah. Well, I think that she did that exactly on purpose, Oh no, it's for Karen Reed. Aren't you current or former? And that one girl I really like whose name I can't remember. I don't know. There's a couple people who used to be free Karen Reed who are no longer free Karen Reed. I mean, I find everything the defense does strange, but yeah, I pray that their eyes get opened as well. If they want to be open-minded and, actually go look at the actual evidence and not things they're just being told, Yes, absolutely. twistedtragedies3@gmail.com. If you want to get in touch with me, that is the email to do so. And there's also the email that I use for my PayPal, which just scrolls at the bottom. You can also use that one too. It does help the algorithms if you hit like and subscribe. I would appreciate that very, very much. And also if you want to give a donation, again, at the bottom of the screen, those information for Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App scroll at the bottom there. Venmo and Cash App are the same, except Cash App, you got to put a $sign in front of it, SKYE 3188, and at Venmo, you put an @ instead of a $sign in front of it. That's the only difference between those two. There was a text mentioned in the first trial by Garino. Maybe I missed that. Right. Exactly. Exactly, Joy. They were very base, general statements. For what? What's corrupt and lock her up for what exactly? I know, right? Real estate lawyer, like environmental lawyer, real estate lawyer. Like, yeah, they definitely got themselves a good criminal lawyer bunch, right? Yeah, I think it's someone who works for Ring. Like, yep. Now I'm 10 minutes behind in these. Sorry. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Oh yeah, how dare anybody want her to go to jail for her, you know? Yeah, I'm so ready for that text stream data. I know Freak's got to be ready for that text stream data. I am like totally ready to jump into that data. Oh, listen, we'll have to throw you like a divorce party. Like that those are a thing now. Like they weren't way back in the day, but like they're a thing now. We will totally throw you a divorce party, girl. Like I think people deserve them after the hell that they have been through sometimes. Like that attitude is what got her a grand jury indictment. Absolutely. I don't know. That's a good question. If they have a blacked out video, if it's deleted and they don't have anything, I don't know. You know, it's possible. I can't help myself. I just can't help myself. Yeah, the butt dials. That's the like constant. Like, what about the butt dials? What about them? I had a viewer that butt dialed me 2 days ago. Like, you know what I mean? Like on Facebook, it happens. Like, we got plenty of places for your rage to go. They are critical factors. We do need impartial jurors. We need jurors that can actually look at this, you know, and not just be like, "Free Karen Reed, I'm trying to sneak into the jury." Karen definitely self snitches. Joy said, Karen so self snitches with that comment. The first thing I thought of was he got hit by a plow. She knew how he got hit, and she knew he was dead before anyone knew he was hit and dead. Yeah, that's the other thing. And then, of course, that gets played, and the steward was like, who said that was her first thought? Who? Who said that was her first thought that he got hit by a plow? Who said that? And then it's like, Karen said, that was my first thought, is that he got hit by a plow. I don't understand who said that it was her first thought. Hey, you actual idiot that doesn't watch any of the interviews, read any of the court documents, or really understand much of anything. She said it. She did, sir. She did. She did. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. I know I took a long, lengthy break for that 6 months, but I have high hopes for the channel. I do. I know that I get behind sometimes in the comments and stuff, but I try to make sure that I address mostly everybody's comments, because my interaction with my audience is something I pride myself on. Not every channel interacts the way that I do with my audience, and it's just what works best for me, and it works a lot for you guys. So I like to see what you guys have to say. I like to comment on it. So King says, can't wait for Hank to show the jury the clip of collision. Jackson and Killer Karen say, we don't know who did it and we don't need to know. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Jamie said the feds had Proctor's phone, so why didn't they come out and say his phone data showed him at crime scene 5:45-ish planting evidence? Exactly. Why? Because they didn't find any corruption or collusion in that way. They found nada. Nada. Brian Higgins' Jeep was parked near the mailbox, as far as I remember. Maybe I could do a reenactment using it. Maybe. George is definitely being a babysitter. That's definitely what she's doing. Like, yeah, at the end of the driveway. So it was like right near the mailbox, which was like the end of the driveway. Yeah, he definitely does not want the media asking questions because Karen opens her big mouth. She's the only one that doesn't have a gag order. And I think that was by design because she just shoots herself in the foot, just like the sewer turtle does. Yeah, he is worried about her snitching mouth, but they weren't so worried when they did that documentary because they didn't think that there was going to be a second trial. Well, they definitely miscalculated. Definitely worried about what she's going to say. Yeah, so they have the infotainment system and the EDR data. So, well, I want to see if they pull up that U2 song that she claims she had on, you know? Like, WCVB has a live blog on their website. Oh, okay. We can follow that. Yeah, he didn't when he was spewing bullshit. He didn't care, you know? Did not. You did miss a troll. You missed a troll. There was a couple days ago, there was 2 that were sent in by design, sent in. It's really sad that person sent them in because it's like, dude, grow up, you know, grow up. Ooh, updates in the article. Karen Reed's retrials, latest notes from the courtroom. Okay, all right. We'll look that up in a second. I'm going to keep that one on the screen so that I can get down. The billboard is beautiful, DJ. I agree. Down to the bottom of these comments. Yeah, the snowfall did increase over the preceding hours. I truly believe Victoria George will regret her choice to join the defense team. I think she will, but I think at this point she's kind of stuck. Like, she's stuck dealing with her because if she comes back out now and says Karen was a horror even after this is over, like, she's going to look like an utter idiot. So she's never going to admit that. Yeah, Higgins' Jeep was at the bottom of the driveway where the mailbox was. Really hoping that at least they have access log info showing the deletions. Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, Manho's Jeep was there because Manho was there. Yeah, he was there. I asked Free Karen Reed if Feds investigating Proctor had his cell phones. Why didn't they come out and say his data showed him at the crime scene at 5:45-ish planting evidence? Crickets. Yeah, of course, because they have no way to argue that. That's why. You know? All they'll say is, the federal investigation isn't over. We didn't get a letter. They didn't come out and say it. So we even if the federal investigation people came out and said, like, hey, it was over, they'd be like, well, they're just waiting for indictments. Like, they would keep going with that conspiracy until the end of time. Joy said she had told them to look at her for the crime when she said, I hit him 3 times and pointed out to others on the scene that her taillight was broken. Hello, and the Free Karen Reed people screaming about a fight. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I can't wait until we become members. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on the membership thing. I can only do that with monetization. So we can all blame Free Karen Reed for that because they're the ones that got my monetization paused for 6 months, and then you have to wait to redo it. And so I have. So now I got to wait on YouTube to give me an answer. Aurora said, thank you, Elise, in the chat. Keep me company in these days. I'm home alone and can't do much because of the puppy surgery. Not even enjoying the grande nor doing gardening. Oh, that stings. But you have us, so don't worry. No fear. You're not alone. And always join the Discord if you're not in it and you don't hate. Some people hate Discord, but I think maybe they were in the wrong Discord. But if you're not, join our Discord. We have a Discord so that after I'm not live anymore, I'm gonna do, if there's enough interest in it, I'm gonna do live voice chats. We have a voice chat where either other people can talk to me with me and begin that conversation, or you can just type. And we also have an area where all of us can just type in different places. The voice chat is called Twisted's Treehouse of Horrors. So we have an area where I can do just voice chat with you guys when I'm not live, and give updates and stuff. So it's good to have a lot of people in one place. And a lot of you have joined it, which I absolutely love. So what I'll do from now on is I'll write at everyone and it'll tell everyone I tagged you when I want to do a voice chat. Yes. Well, it was not in the driveway. It was on the road at the foot of the driveway. So the driveway was like this, right? And the mailbox was here and Higgins's Jeep was here, like in front of the mailbox, right at the foot of the driveway. So it wasn't in the driveway as far as I know. It was at the foot of it. I could be wrong, but that's how I remember it. Oh, still living together after separated? That's got to be difficult. Girl, you got more patience than I do. Yeah, Hank will be allowed to show them. If he has the unedited versions, he'll be allowed to show them if that's something he wants to use. Yeah, absolutely. I live far from Mass. The first time I heard about this case was hearing Nick Hewitt talking about it. I thought, Then I did homework and realized this TV guy was full of crap. Yeah, see, not many people actually do that. That'll do, donkey. I love that one. That's definitely one of my favorite ones. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. That one's definitely one of my favorite ones for sure. Does the Neon Girls Dawn is Forever talking about freedom feathers? I have not seen that. I'll have to go and look it up now that you told me, though. She knew he was hit by a vehicle and he would be under the snow. I asked ChatGPT, will a phone lock in a pedestrian accident? Said yes, a phone will lock on impact. So John did not lock his phone. Even if he did, it takes a millisecond. He could have locked it and put it in his pocket, and then that would have been that, right? Like, could have been hit right after that. Like, so, I mean, you know. I think he did a good job of explaining where the Jeep was. As far as I know, it wasn't in the driveway, but it was at the foot of the driveway. My God, a few weeks in jail, she absolutely will look like Sarah Boone. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My bad. Right? Send in the clown show. How many clowns come out of the car, guys? Like, ugh, I don't know. That's a good question. It was a 2021. My sister's doesn't do that. Hers actually breaks if you're going backwards and someone comes behind you. It automatically breaks. So, and she has a van. But her volume doesn't turn down. That's interesting. Well, that's got to be a pretty cool feature, though. Yeah, I said that too. Like, I love these people who are saying, like, well, the feds closed the investigation because this is what they said, and I've seen more than one person say this, because they need time to build an investigation. So they closed it so they had time to build more indictments. Is this thing on? Hey, geniuses. You don't close an investigation if you're trying to build a case. It would have remained open until said indictments. The amazing stupidity sometimes. I can't. I can't find my headphones right now. I let my daughter use them, and I don't know where she put them, so they could possibly be in the fridge. They could possibly be in the fridge. Oh, thank you, Joy. Well, that's what we do over here. We might make some funnies in the meantime. You know, we got some jokes to go along with it, but we have a great, great, great time. You are all members anyway. You know, when I had the tiers, it was Twisted Trooper, Twisted Chief, Twisted Sergeant. Those were the 3 tiers of membership. So it you know, eventually we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that and making some merch, and you know, I feel like we will get back to that. It's not hard to work. There's just different channels you can click into, and if there's something new that's written, there'll be like a red 1 or whatever that'll tell you, or just a red dot that'll tell you like new stuff is in that one. And like the voice chat, you just click on and it'll tell you if anybody's in there. So if I went in there right now, it would say one person is there, my name would be underneath it, and then you would click on that and go in, and you could either mute yourself and just listen to me talk, or you can join the conversation in voice, or we can all just talk in the different, there's, you know, we have general, you know, the Hewer Chill, Reed Whacker, like, then we have one for just memes and like foodie things, like just fun other stuff, you know? Right? I just don't understand how they have time to troll. I don't have time to breathe. Like, how do you have time to troll? Like, I don't get it. I don't usually get trolls anymore. Thank God. And if it is, it's like 1 or 2 and out they go. Not people with an open mind. Those aren't the trolls. The trolls are the ones that immediately come in and start saying things like, lock Jen up, the feds are coming, you're all idiots, oh my God, this channel, ha ha ha. Like, that's like instant trolling. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's all the same crap they say every time. Like, if someone comes in asking questions, I am all for that. Let's answer their questions. Let's point them in the direction where they can go find the answers themselves, whether it's in the court documents or it's in the videos of the last trial. Like, I love when people come in and just want to ask questions, and they just want to get to the bottom of like, hey, maybe they were lied to, or maybe they just want to hear from us different things that they heard from that side. Now they want to hear from us, right? And we don't want to turn them away. We want, like we did yesterday, to show them where they can go look and find this information for themselves. That way they can find out they were lied to. We don't even have to tell them. They can figure it out all on their own by us just telling them where to go look for the actual information, you know? I do think she was in acting mode as well from that first call, you know? Like, yeah, she puts it on the ground. I don't understand why. That's really strange why she does that. Like, why? You retrieve it and then, like, commence the freaking out. Like, weird. Yeah, that's, you know, this is the kind of world we live in, right? And I'm proud of you, Ellen, for making sure that, like, she didn't get away with that, you know? She lived in your house and you were kind enough to allow her in before she could pay anything because she said she had nowhere to go, but she would have the money, and they took advantage, and that's not okay. I've gone into those channels a couple times. Jack said, I can't take it for very long. It's torture. I don't want them knowing me anyway, but I guess it could be fun. If I ever have to go into those channels, I can't do it for more than like 5 minutes. I can't. So how did Nagel vehicle not see it? Because I think Brian Higgins was the first person to leave. So I don't know. I'm not sure if he just doesn't remember. You have to remember, they were asked like a while later. So I'm sure they were drinking themselves. So it's like, did he just not remember? I don't know. You know, like, I don't know. It's possible, you know, it's possible. Yes, it is true. 3 of the free Karen Reed people, and they're not even names that, like, I really know, but, like, they're suing her in federal court over the buffer zone. They'll lose ultimately. It's a joke. They're mad that they lost last time about the buffer zone. So now apparently they thought that, like, suing the judge for the buffer zone was somehow going to help them. You do not have a constitutional right to disrupt someone's fair trial. Sorry, you don't. So yes, there can be a buffer zone. Many courts have done it a billion times over. There's a reason that it happens. It cannot disrupt the court and the proceedings in court. There are other trials happening in the court right now as well. So they're never going to win their lawsuit or them trying to sue the judge over the buffer zone. It's just a waste of money for these people. I don't know how Rendanza keeps, like, grifting and scamming his way into having these people pay him thousands of dollars to lose when he ultimately knows he's going to lose. Ashley, do you have the link for Discord? Only my mods can do it, or me, and I still haven't added Freak as a mod yet. Crap. And I'm not signed in on my computer, so it's hard to... Hold on. Let me try it this way. I think, too, sometimes the links are only good for, like, 24 hours or something. Yes, exactly. Just like Nair yesterday. They wanted answers. You know, there was 2 or 3 of them here yesterday. They just wanted answers to things. Like, and I love that. I absolutely love that. Like, and that's exactly the way we should be treating people. I'm so proud of you guys. And, like, you guys have always treated people with respect, but, like, this is why I absolutely love my community so much. And it's because you guys are so amazing in general. Like, that, like, you always are kind enough to not immediately be like, oh, this person's a free Karen Reed person. Screw. Like, you guys want to hear what they have to say first. And if there's someone that's just asking questions, you guys are so awesome when it comes to that. Like, and just pointing them in the right direction and, like, letting them know, like, this is a safe space. So if you have questions, you know what I mean? Like, this is definitely one of the places that you would want to come to get the answers, right? Like, I'm trying to get the link right now. I'm going to send it to Ashley so she can put it in the chat. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Nope. I want to do this. Then go back to this. And then, gosh dang it. Copy link, share invite. Oop. Copy. I'm going to send it to Ash. I got to add some of you to mod as well. I'll do that after I'm not live anymore because it takes a minute to do it. Lucia, Ashley's going to put the link in the chat because it's only mods and me that can do it. Oh, Jack got it. Kara, you can see it's giving me the things that you guys are in there. Jack and Kara, welcome to the Discord. What tools does the Commonwealth have to find a jury's social media presence under false names? That's going to be a challenge. They do background checks on these people. They have their names, but that's going to be a challenge, right? Finding sock accounts of these people to make sure. Thank you, Aurora, to make sure that they don't get in, right? Like, so that's going to be tricky. I don't know. I don't actually know what tools they have to sort of unfortunately, like that's one of those things, right? Where it's really hard to figure out unless somebody self snitches with things that they say. But I can tell you this. I can tell you that Hank Brennan knows what he's doing, and he is very well aware of the way that people operate that are, the cult's sort of right hand men and women over there, and the way that they, have people do things for them and dog whistle people to do things for them. So I have faith that Hank will make sure that these jurors aren't people trying to disguise themselves and just get on a jury. We know that some of them were dismissed last time during trial, and I have no doubt that maybe that will happen this time too. That's why I think they need at least 20, if not 25, because we almost ran out of alternates last time, and I don't think that's, especially with how high profile this case is, I really think it would be smart to have more alternates than we had last time, Yeah, I know it's sad, but like the judge, I think, is just being very careful, although I don't agree with everything that she does for sure, That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Oh, thank you, Ellen. You guys are the best. Things like missing ring video, placing the phone on the tire, Nathan in her car doing exactly what? Yeah, in John's house that morning. The fake tap of John's car. Her cover-up started early. Yeah, it did. Dad, Karen act emotionally distraught, then I'll come and section you. Be very convincing. I mean, he definitely at least felt like she was going to hurt herself, or he thought that would be the fastest way to get her away from the police of asking any questions until he could obtain her an attorney, So it is so nice. It is so nice. So nice. You have to add yourself, Jen. If you scroll up in the chat a little bit, Ellen put the link in there. You click on that link and you can enter. You can make your own screen name and you can enter the Discord. It was so nice to see that some of them are actually decent people who have brains that want to just learn, like, hey, you know what? It's funny because the person that donated anonymously so kindly said the same thing, which is like, that was yesterday was their first time of just listening to like Karen sort of channels, right? And every other channel they got shoo-shooed away and attacked like immediately, except ours. I don't think people should be shoo-shooed right away just because they believe one thing or another. I think until they start being assholes about it, we should just give them the correct information, It's hard to get everybody who can go all on the same day. I think it's much easier, which it was much easier at the end of trial when the jury was deliberating. And also, we don't want to make a circus out of this. We don't want to do what they do. I think our best thing that we can do, and I think maybe me and Ashley will do this as long as and there's other people who want to go. So I think maybe Wednesday would be the best day for me if anyone wants to go down to D&E on Wednesday and eat some food and go down there and support Chris and his business and his family. That's a great way to sort of show your support for everyone is go down there and we can have a little powwow, I think there's other ways. I think we probably won't until closer to trial, as far as I know, and closer to the end of trial, because most people have like jobs and kids, and that's hard enough. But to get a decent amount of people who aren't busy during the day already to stand in front of the courthouse, it becomes, I've walked through that. Okay. You guys remember went to the first ever protest that we had, and I walked through the gauntlet, walked through hell, streamed the entire thing, but walked through that hell of these people, walked right through the middle of the sea of these people. They threw water at me. They're screaming obscenities. Like, it's a hostile environment. I'll tell you that much. I think John DePetro said it the other day on Julie Grant's show. He said the exact same thing. And it's like, I lived it. John was down there with us when we were down there, but he was there every day. So he lived it every day, you know? It was a little crazy. Like, it was a little crazy. But I think our best bet is to maybe go during, jury deliberation like we did last time, although that wasn't really planned what we did last time, but it was definitely a good time. We planned it the night before, and we only did it because people decided they were going to go harass the O'Keefes and the Alberts and the McCabe's over at the VFW, that they were having a private event while they were waiting for the jury to decide. And some free Karen Reed people went down there and harassed them. And so we decided we were going to just, go down there and show our support, because this was unacceptable at that point. They've crossed a line, and we did, and we did. But I think we can do it in better ways than making it a circus, Hey, no worries. I saw you enter, so you're there, you're in there like swimwear. I can see you. So all you really have to do now is, like, you click on an area that you want to talk about. Karen Reed, you click in there and start typing, and it's kind of like, think AOL Messenger. Think like that. That's exactly what it's like, sort of. I'm thinking Wednesday of next week would be a good day to go down, for me at least, to D&E if Ashley wants, because she'd have to gracefully pick me up. I don't have a car. I wish I did. Yeah, the Murdoch thing was crazy. Crazy. Hindsight definitely is 2020. It was a great interaction, and I was so proud of both sides of people for that interaction, and I hope that we have a lot of other interactions exactly like that, and a lot of positive conversations like that. It was amazing. Yeah, the intelligent conversation was quite nice, The suggestions of answers to lies, right? I remember when Bill said Karen slithered off the bed when he told her John was dead. She knew. She knew. Right? Let's do it. I like pizza too. I keep thinking about that pizza Leah sent to my house last week, or at the beginning of this week. So good. It was so good. Listen, I'm in like Flynn. And they do. They have great food. Their pizza's really good too. Dang it. Wednesdays are like Wednesdays and maybe Fridays, sometimes Mondays. It depends. My husband has been switching Mondays for Fridays, but I have to get her on and off the bus. So Wednesdays are his day off. So it's easier for me to go on a day that, like, I don't have to rush back, I do too. I have a couple free Karen Reed friends in real life as well. But they're not the people that run around harassing people. They're not like online psychopaths where they're like saying mean shit to people. They just think, oh, that's right. You are local to me too. Me and you you're gonna have to send me a message. Oh, you already did it that's right. You did it on X. So I saw some of it. I just couldn't reply right now, but I will when I get off stream, because you are local. Yeah, let's hope it's less of a circus, But yeah, if they're willing to listen, tell them to come on in, Oh, that's awesome. I think it's a great way to teach people. Yeah, instead of you got mail, you got snail mail. Let's see. Didn't you notice yesterday in a replay of Hank laying out the arguments about witness intimidation that Dad was nodding yes? Oh, see, Mr. Burns and Smithers. I mean, I can't help but to call Nathan Reed Smithers because that's what he looks like. He's Smithers, and Karen's dad is Mr. Burns. Absolutely. She's the one who got me to pay attention to this case by telling me to watch. Oh, that's Taylor Carroll. I immediately knew he was full of shit. A lot of people do. Sounds good to me, dude. Let's do it. Let's freaking do it. Let's do it. Oh, here we are with the hidden trolls, y'all. See, these lies are what, like, I laugh at. There was never $50,000 in back rent. So that's like, once again, you're not a smart person. Also, I don't get food stamps. So once again, when you believe a sewer turtle, that's kind of how it works. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. It was the snake-like reference that stood out for me. See, I don't understand it either, but this is exactly why right here, like, I give people a minute when I see a name that I've never seen before, and then when they act like that, they get booted. Like, those are not facts. Everything that they just said are all lies. I don't get food stamps. I wish I did, because then I wouldn't have to worry about being food insecure on a weekly basis. Okay. Number two, I never owed $50,000 in back rent. That's a complete falsie. And number three, Ashley's never beaten anybody a day in her life, and all of that was proven in a court once again. So that's what happens when you listen to a sewer turtle. Is you get a bunch of false information, and then you do things like that where you think it's okay to attack people you've never met and don't know with bold-faced lies. Like, don't you have anything better to do in your life, like, than to literally harass people you don't know with lies about them? It's kind of sad and a little pathetic. Like, little bit pathetic. Like, yeah, that was me. That was a quick finger trigger. Yeah. Put it up because I want to address it. Like, the trolls, like, bro, time to go. Like, listen, if you're going to try to insult people, at least have the correct information when you do it. All right. For the love of God. Like, their whole, like, calling everybody food stamp 5 when half of those people don't even get food stamps is amazing to me. Just because you're poor doesn't mean you get food stamps. I make too much to qualify for them, but not enough to survive. My family does, which is funny. We're over the limit, which is like, again, if you're like over the limit by like a couple hundred or even a couple dollars, you're fit into the category of you don't make enough to get help, but you don't make enough to survive either. But there's nothing wrong with people who do get food stamps. I mean, I know plenty of people who get food stamps who need them to survive. So I love that they love to make it about rich and poor. Like, I know more poor people that are more intelligent and kind and giving than most of the people over there that scream from the rooftops that they're so rich and awesome. If you have to scream about how rich and awesome you are, you're probably not rich and not awesome. Like, nod and smile, right? Just no, they don't have nothing to do with anything, right? I think we all wish that, like, we could get that kind of help when we need it. Like, I worked my entire life since I was 14. Like, the fuck? Been on my own since I was 17. Like, what the hell? And that's exactly it. It's like how 98% of the max. So it was nice to have people in here yesterday that didn't act a fool, It's it's sad to see that they can act that way, and it's like they think that it's like you wrote all that, okay? For what? For you to get booted and it to get deleted? Like, for what exactly? Like, what did you get out of that? You got a pat on the back from the sewer turtle, maybe? Maybe one of the head honchos were like, "No, good job. You said a bunch of things that aren't true." Be afraid of me. I'm a troll that says shit that's not even true. But because I say it 75 times, and because the sewer turtle said it 75 times, and because everybody believes it because he said it 75 times, does not make it true. FYI. You can say that this bottle is yellow, and then 52 other people can say the bottle is yellow. It does not make it so. So I don't think they figured that out yet, you guys. So you could say everybody everyone's a woman beater, but it does not make it so, unfortunately, for you people. What does make things so are facts, right? Facts. Here's a fact. Turtle Boy's a liar. That's a fact. Here's another fact for you. Trolls are a waste of oxygen in space. What did you accomplish out of that, sir or ma'am? Ma'am or sir? Sirs or ma'ams? I don't know what you accomplished out of that exactly. Did you rile yourself up a little bit? Did you get a little angry? Like, were you a little bit bothered? You a little bit bothered? Yeah. Yeah. A little triggered? You're a little triggered? I think they were triggered, you guys. They must have been triggered. Must have been something we said. Must have hit a nerve ski. Must have hit a nerve ski. I did, because when you boot someone, it automatically deletes their comments. You have no control over that, but I booted them. There is one. There's always one. They can keep swigging the lies out of the bottle that he passes them. That's fine with me. But stay on your side of the fence, because we don't welcome people like that here. If you want to be nasty or insult people you've never met a day in your life and know nothing about, then please do it somewhere. We have a $10 donation from the House of Beeve, I think. No, hold on. Oh my God, my phone just froze. Well, I'll have to go back to it. There's a $10 donation and it said something like, keep going. Your subscribers are rising. It is rising. I can't see. My phone is like still frozen. Hello, phone. I'm going to try to reset it now. So whoever that was, just tell me in the chat so I can say thank you. How do I imagine Brendan's opening? Yeah, that's what they are, keyboard warriors. I don't know if they made themselves feel better, maybe. I don't know. So I imagine really that he tells the jury that Karen's guilty and that he is going to show them pieces of evidence that show that. Things like, I know, I'm gonna pick things up and put them down, turn it off and on. That's what I'm doing. I think he's going to point them to the pieces of evidence he's going to show. I mean, that's what you would do. So the taillight, the car data, and then he's going to tell them a lot of lies have been told. A lot of discredited things have been said. And the experts that he has are going to discredit those things. They're going to show you in black and white where it cannot be true. And then I implore you to make a decision that best fits justice as a guilty verdict, because there is no shadow of a doubt that Karen Reed hit John with her car, and seconds later, his phone stopped moving forever in the place that he was found. You know, of course, he's going to add in whatever he has and other pieces of evidence we don't know about, the interviews, the specific car data he might cite. I think he will let them know that, the defense might play some word tricks to try to make you think that some grand conspiracy has happened that hasn't. But I think that's about what he'll say in his opening. You want to point to like the pieces of evidence that exist, the ones, especially the more concrete, like no word of a doubt, this cannot have been tampered with. This could not have been, you know what I mean? You want to mention all the pieces of evidence that prove that Karen did it, right? And I think he might say something like her ever-changing statements, even though she says she doesn't know who did it. The defense is now saying they think this person and this person did it. I think he'll use those interviews to show that even Karen has changed her story a multitude of times. First, it was he poked his head in the door. Then it was he walked up to the door. But those only came out 9 months in, right? She never said anything about him being anywhere near the door previous to that. And we know that he didn't go up to the door because his phone GPS tells us he didn't go up to the door. He was found in that same spot that his phone stopped moving in. Yeah, and that it's not about her, it's about John, the victim in this case, who no longer is alive and whose niece and nephew have lost 3 parents now. 3, Jackson's going to say something like, blah, 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 ladies and gents of the jury, conspiracy, Proctor's mean, blah, blah, blah. Proctor is biased and mean. The taillight could have been tampered with, and these are dog bites and scratches, everyone. Blah, 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 conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. It's about all they can say. We do. I said that in the beginning of the show, in the very beginning of the show, that like John gets forgotten a lot in this because it's the Karen Reed show, right? Everybody wants to, I think more than anything, what we want is for her to be sitting behind bars where she belongs. I think that is what we want. What we're going to get, is hopefully a good jury that does exactly that, right? Proctor called her a cunt, so release my murderous client to the world to keep buying her way out of trouble so she can then do something again to someone in a rage. Yeah, it's going to be Proctor out the gate. Trooper Proctor, Trooper Proctor, Trooper Proctor. Said mean things, called my client a cunt, a whack job cunt, talked about her leaky butthole, and he's going to say all the things that Proctor said because he wants it to be shocking to them. He wants to shock the jury. God, how dare an officer say such things? You know, like, come on, man. Like, yes, I love when Boundless puts the clips together. He does such an amazing job at showing like the complete opposite, you know, of her saying one thing and then her saying the opposite. He does such a great job of that. Yeah, Karen likes the word too, you know. It is very painful watching Peggy and Paul, but I will tell you they are two strong, amazing people and just decent human beings all around, and nobody deserves to be going through what they're going through right now. You know. And the kids, even though they're not there, I think about them all the time. Right? Use the defense's own shit against them. The defense wants you to look the other way and came up with a convoluted conspiracy involving, and it's definitely more than a dozen. It's like, you know, freaking hundreds at this point. Like Leon said, my favorite was during closing, and AJ just took some 30 seconds call that happened and completely made up fictional conversation. It was like anything suspicious could have been said in 30 seconds. Yeah. Like, bro, what did they say in 30 seconds? Come get the body. No body was moved. So what did they say in 30 seconds? The cops are here. Like, that's going to change anything? Like, you know, that's the other thing. Harpo's right. Like, he didn't lie in any of his statements. And also, like, they found no other, like, corruption, collusion, no nothing. They found no nothing. And I think Hank's going to, like, hammer that in. If you guys want to talk about the fact that he was fired, let's also talk about the fact that there was an investigation done. And there was no collusion found. There was no corruption found. There was nothing involving, like, this case and its evidence. Nothing. Like, nothing at all. Like, yeah, pretty much got fired for telling the truth, but because he said it. And here's the thing, it's his personal text. To me, it's like, I don't give a shit what he said personally. He's got to vent like everybody else. Like, it is what it is. Like, I think he got done wrong. He got thrown under the bus. But it's not the first time the state police will throw someone under the bus, and it won't be the last time they throw someone under the bus. So it's not a shock to me. It just sucks nonetheless, you know? Like, yes, I do, Joy. So she said, remember when Jackson said the firm just happened to routinely pay Wolf $24,000 and it was not notable? Yeah, like $24,000 is not notable. The managing partner at my firm laughed his head off. Oh, I bet he did. Like, yeah, $24,000 is not notable. Also, you'd pay somebody $24,000 and not know what each little bit of it was for. Like, no, that's why the judge found that he lied. Like, it's very clear. Like, very clear that they lied and lied on purpose. Like, they were trying to hide it. Like, they wanted to say ARCA was independent, and that's very clearly not true, you know? Like, sure did get fired for telling the truth. True, even Google is in on the conspiracy. Google's in on it. I'm in on it, apparently. Like, you know, I don't know. I'm not sure where Paul. I think maybe it's possible, but I think that is also like, unfortunately, it's just that's not our business. Like, whatever happened there, like, that's his own family's, you know, personal business. And I think that should have never been drug. Everybody has their own issues like that, right? And but that's what the sewer turtle does, right? Take your personal issues, try to use them against you, make you a bad person. I will tell you, Paul's not a bad person. There's nothing bad about him. So, like, I don't understand, like, you know, of course they want to make him out to be some bad person now because they don't want to come to terms with the fact that, like, you people are literally, like, hurting a victim's family. Like, that is deplorable. Like, I don't give a shit if he cheated on his wife and his mother had 5 husbands. I don't give a shit. They are the victim's family members. They have lost someone to a murder, okay? What they do in their personal lives is none of our business and none of anybody else's business. But of course, the turtle likes to think that everybody else's personal business is his business, but his personal business is nobody's business. His dumpster fire of a life is no one's business. Nobody should know about his dumpster fire life, right? At all. Why? Because he knows if everybody knew everything about his dumpster fire life, they might stop following him. You can't be making fun of people for doing the same thing that you've done 75 times. Sir, you've cheated on your wife more times than I can count, and with multiple women at one time. Who is he to be talking about anybody doing anything? Like, the irony, dude. The irony. Like, no, some people don't understand head trauma. I've tried to explain it 75 times. Raccoon eyes is something that people in the medical community should know, but I am finding that even some nurses are saying, like, no, that's not it. And I'm like, then you need to go back to nursing school. Like, yes, these are FKR nurses, of course, but yes, it is called raccoon eyes. It is a very well-known thing that if you the blood goes to the front, right? The blood is pulling to the front. If it has nowhere to go, right, it's going to go to the front. There are people who have had seizures and fallen, and they wake up with what they call raccoon eyes, right? The blood is coming to the front. There's a head strike. Like, I don't know why it's hard for them to understand. The blood vessels go to the front. All the blood is rushing to the front, and that's where the raccoon eyes are coming from. Like, Freak said Michael Proctor lost his job for being brutally honest, and I, for one, would let any first responder say anything in private because they see the worst things imaginable. They get a free pass from me too. They see awful things, terrible things, and they have to live with the fact that some people that they try to save don't make it, you know? Like, that's awful. Like, maybe it's possible. Daddy lives in John's house. Yeah, this is Ashley's case. There's a website for that. You can go and do some research on that, which had to do with the sewer turtle. It kind of gives you an idea of like the things he's capable of and the way he spins things to fit his narrative. I love Boundless's videos. Matt's videos are hilarious. Every time I have to laugh. Every single time. I thought AJ's clothes was horrible and extremely corny and empty. Pin it on the girl, look the other way, and pull the tapes. Well, that's the thing. They don't have a right to pull the tapes. So it's like, you didn't have a right to be like, oh, we should have gotten the tapes. Did you ask for the tapes? And at any point, did you ask for them to be preserved? No. In any investigation, you don't just magically get the tapes of the police station or the Sally Port or where they brought a car for evidence. You wouldn't just magically get that. That is not the way it works. So acting like it is to feed these people false like information for them to be running around saying, oh, well, they should have had the tapes. They should have. No, they shouldn't have. They asked for no preservation order of those tapes. No, they should not have. It's not the way it works. Like, and absolutely, they pulled strings with the U.S. attorney, and Levy should be ashamed of himself. And I don't care if it takes until the day that I am 97 years old and I'm ready to die. I will make sure that that man is held accountable. I don't care how many, how loud I have to be in this state and how many lawmakers I have to talk to, how many people from higher positions I need to talk to. But he's got to take some goddamn responsibility for what he helped create, period. Like, right? We should send invoices. They should pay us for our time debunking his bullshit. Right? I'll just send an invoice, see if he just pays me without even checking to see what it's for. Because apparently they like to do stuff like that over there. like pin it on the middle-aged woman. Karen is 44. She's not a girl. But that's how they try to frame it. Like, she's like this innocent girl, how the defense tries to frame it. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I must have this person already blocked. Or we're just talking about them in general. Free Karen Read 2025 in general. Because if that's an actual person, I don't see them, which means they either have me blocked already or I had them blocked already. But if I had them blocked, they wouldn't be in here. So that means they probably blocked me. I have to make one of you guys a mod and I'll have to. Yeah, it's to try to make her seem, vulnerable. Yeah, I mean, I can tell Chris in advance, like, that we're going. I always want to give him a heads up that we're coming down. Because I don't want to come like at a super busy time because there's only like so many seats, Right? Is it the number of people? It's possible. Ugh. Unfortunately, I wouldn't call them fools because some of these women are amazing people. I know them personally after the shitstorm they have been through when it comes to him. But I think you have to remember that people who are narcissists or abusers are very, they can fool you pretty easily. And a lot of them didn't really know much about him beforehand. So, I've never done research like that on somebody I dated either. So I can't blame them. Obviously, they learned that was a mistake. But some of these women are amazing. They're intelligent. They're smart. They're kind. So it sucks to see everything that they go through and have been through. It's just awful. It's just awful. Nobody should have to go through some of the stuff that they have gone through. It's not a bad idea. Yeah, his personal phone had nothing to do with Karen Reed, and I think it was deplorable that the feds even touched anything that had to do with his personal phone. I mean, come on. But again, they were lied to, right? They were lied to, so they thought that by digging in there, they might find something, and they found nothing. And his family has become victims, just like my family was a victim, and just like many other families and lives have been upended by this shitstorm, like when my monetization was paused on this channel, like that's all the memberships, even though they're only a couple bucks a month up to like 20. I had smaller ones, usually like $3 a month or whatever. And I only get 50% of that. Usually it was 50%. So I wasn't making a ton, but it was enough to put food in the fridge. And, and pausing that monetization hurt my channel, right? Like they don't care who they hurt with lies. That they just don't. They don't care. They'll tell as many as they have to about someone to try to discredit you, to try to make you look like a bad person so that people won't listen to you. That's the whole thing, right? To silence. They will never silence me. It will never happen. Like, never. We do have great mods. We have amazing mods. I'm going to add a couple more when I get off of here. Some of you have said you would, and I appreciate that. So I'm gonna, when I get off here, get the information from you guys so I can add you. I only had Ashley's real quick because I already had it. So oh yeah, no, her damage to the community far precedes anything that's even just in Canton or Dedham. Like we're talking all over the state, the damage that she's created, all over the state of Massachusetts. It's awful. Yeah, he did basically help a predator get away with her kid until the courts like intervened and did something about it. And it's like these are all things that he did before this case existed, They do now, right? Like they didn't obviously before seeing him. I think now you absolutely would have to know who he is, His phone for work related calls so they could take it. Oh, of course. Of course. It's funny too, because you're like, superiors will call you on your personal phone if you don't have like your other one or you didn't answer it right away. So it's like, oh, because I took the call from my boss, magically you think you're allowed into my phone? Like, no, that's not how that works. Sorry, I forgot that I reset my phone. I want to make sure I'm not missing any donations from people. Oh, thank you, Jack. Thank you. At $7.47 from Jack. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate you. Oh, the last one was from Eva. Thank you, Eva. I'm sorry I couldn't see your name. It completely sponked out on me, but thank you so much, Eva. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, that was rough, But again, it's all that false information that gets spread around. The damage has been done, Like it's how do you reverse all the false information that has been strewn about everywhere about you, Like that's the part of it that like you have to keep sort of hammering away at the fact that that shit ain't true, like forever. And I started to learn that like I don't care anymore. That's what I started to learn. Most people who know me know what kind of person I am. So I don't give a shit. If the cult wants to keep repeating crap that isn't true and has no basis in reality, then cool, you do that. I don't care. I don't give a shit. When you figure out you were lied to, and when he does it to someone like you or someone you care about, and you realize that he does do this and he does lie, and he does mostly lie to cover his own ass, then I'll be here and maybe you can apologize. But I won't give it any more of my attention like that because it's purposeless. It's purposeless. It's like arguing with a flat earther. Like it's absolutely purposeless. Like I don't actually give a shit what they think about me. I don't. They don't have to watch me. They don't have to interact with me, and I don't have to interact with them, right? Like, I'll interact with the people that I interact with that know me or know a little bit about me, like Ashley, like a lot of my mods, so like Ellen, So the people who know me personally know, no, I don't need to explain to them anything. They know. So it's like, you know what? I just don't give a shit anymore. Like, in the beginning, you do give a shit and you're like, but this is my name. But at the end, you're just like, you know what? I don't care. I don't fucking care. Like, if they choose to believe a bunch of nonsense, eventually it'll happen to them. And eventually they will realize they were being fed a bunch of BS this whole entire time about a lot of people. And that's that. Like, he hates the everything community. Let's be real, Ash. He hates the everything community. I don't think he likes any one kind of community, to be fair. Joy said the free hearing recall is disturbing because they are parroting lies of TV and condoning his criminal actions of intimidating witnesses. At some point, if you are a decent, logical person, you should wake up. That's what I always thought, Joy, right? And I've seen it a little bit. But I've thought the same thing. If you're a decent, logical person, like, you'll wake up, right? You'll figure it out, like, but you don't see a ton of it. And it's mind-boggling. But that's why I go back to, like, it is like a cult. And cult members don't know they're in a cult until they're out of it, right? I see a lot more of people realizing what happened when they're out of it than when they're in it. And it goes to like the mantras that cults do, unfortunately. Well, I will take questions real quick before we end this, because I have been with you guys since early this morning, since 9. And I'm getting hungry. I can feel my stomach going. I'm a little bit hungry. So I will take questions real quick. Questions, quick comments before I end this live stream. Yeah. I scratch my head at a lot of things, Heather, in this case. Seriously. Like, yeah, because you've done a lot for the community in general and just people in general. Ashley, you have a very big heart. Like, but again, people who know you like me know you as a person. So like, we don't question anything he said because we know it's not true, And that's how I feel like, girl, don't do it. Don't do it. She did it. Don't do it. Gonna make me want pizza. God damn it. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Ashley to D&E on Wednesday next week. So if there is anybody else that wants to join, I know Lisa said she wanted to. If there's anybody else who wants to join, you can just let me or Ashley know so that we sort of have a count. I'd like to let Chris know ahead of time how many of us there might be. Just so we're not disrupting a whole lot. So just let me know. Ah, dang it. Wednesday is my best day for me to do it. It's the only day I don't have to like rush home. He is a monster. You can say that again. It's an absolute freaking monster. Like, it is amazing because you would think that they would like figure it out, like, I know, like, right, if that was a thing, like, hopefully in the future we'll have this thing where like someone like Reflect says pizza and then we can all just press a button and like a pizza spits out of our computer, like a homemade pizza. Like, that would be amazing. Like, come on, future. I want things like pressing a button and food popping out. Like, let's do that. That sounds good. Like, thank you, Freak, for always being here. I am super lucky to have most of you that come every time I stream, and my restreamers, my people that catch up when they don't miss it. I appreciate you guys too, because everybody plays a perfect role in sort of getting this information out there to the public and sort of making people realize that, hey, they might have been lied to when it comes to this case and some other ones, like, oh my God, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Yeah, he is definitely devoid of moral values. Like, he definitely deserves to be locked up, and the key deserves to be thrown away into the deep abyss, never to be found again. Never to be found again. That's exactly what he deserves, So Everything's bigger in Texas, though, right? So you get bigger pizza, Reflect? FedEx. It's big old slice of pizza. You're totally welcome. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. All right. I'm going to wrap it up. I love all your stinking faces. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I will pop in my Discord in a little bit. So if you have not joined the Discord yet, the link is in the chat. I know we've posted a couple times. Maybe it can be posted right again before we leave, because the chat stays active for about 2 minutes after the outro plays. I think it's either a minute or 2 minutes, somewhere around there. So join our Discord if you haven't, please. And maybe we'll have some little talks in there today. That'll be fun. That'll be lots of fun. If you're on my replay crew, if you donate when I'm not live anymore, I will read it when I am live tomorrow. Or yeah, when I'm live tomorrow. I love you all. I love all your stinking faces. If you want to donate, there is a ticker at the bottom of the screen that tells you how. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. It helps the channel. We are only a small channel. We do not have memberships. We don't have monetization because of Free Karen Read at the moment. We're still working on it again. This is what we have instead. So we appreciate every donation we get because it goes a long way for our very tiny channel that is trying to grow. I love you guys, and I will see you all tomorrow.